Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody all around the world, hello and welcome to another episode of The Watch But with me, John Lewis, right here on YouTube and every podcasting platform. Make some noise, clap it up, get excited wherever you are. We are back with another action-packed show for today, covering the world of boxing, sports, and beyond. Yes, indeed, we got a whole slew of stuff to discuss today with Devin Haney and a new hit list at his disposal made by his father, Bill Haney. Also, he's called out some people over on Twitter. Is there a new match that we're getting ready to be able to see? On top of that, we also got so much more with news with Canelo and his training, with what we have going on with what looks to be a very interesting partner in prepping up for the world of Crawford versus Canelo. Oh, we got so much to offer. We got Manny Pacquiao on his return, getting some, talking about some concerns that I may have over him coming back to the ring against a very good but yet still very dangerous opponent in Mario Barrios. We got all that and more in this championship fight coming back in July. It's a bunch of stuff coming, not to mention what's going on in the NBA playoffs with the first game between the Knicks and the Pacers ending in an absolute mind-boggling overtime type of victory for the Pacers. It's a lot to cover. It's a whole lot to cover in a short amount of time to do it. So again, we got so much to talk about, and we appreciate your time and energy right here on the show. Yes, indeed. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the hottest show on the globe, The Watch But right here on YouTube and every podcast. And please, if you would, leave a like on the video, comment your thoughts and opinions in the chat so we can discuss and talk about it all right here with you, the viewing and listening public. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. Hopefully, hopefully I'm not stuttering on this thing. My goodness, hopefully everything's going like it's supposed to be. I hope and pray that we ain't got nothing going wrong with the stream. I think we should be good now. Everything's okay. But look, we got a lot to cover. We got a lot to talk about. So without further ado, let's jump right to the world of sports, shall we? Instead of talking about boxing, first and foremost on this show, it is time to step into the ring. Yes, sir, that's right. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this show going underway, as we have to discuss first and foremost one of the more newsworthy moments that's been happening over the airways of Twitter and social media. Devin Haney's got a new hit list, y'all. My goodness. That's right. After what seems to be a debacle of epic proportions, that was his fight against Jose Ramirez. And now, yet again, we have another hit list situation of Devin Haney having names on his resume that he wants to go and make apparent and make happen and look to take out one by one, literally ranked from 1 to 10 from none other than the mouth of, I don't think he's from the South, maybe from the North. I can't remember exactly where Bill Haney's from. But from the mouth of his father, he has put out a list of names that Devin Haney's going to look to try to essentially overcome and win. Let me bring up that list right now as we go early into the day with the old moniker of Picture and Picture. Let me just make sure I got the right thing up for you all to be able to see right here on the screen for those of you who are watching the show over on YouTube. And again, we appreciate your time and effort. We do this every Thursday, or every Tuesday and Thursday, every single week, covering the world of boxing, basketball, and beyond for you, the viewing and listening public. We laugh, we learn, we grow, we have fun, we debate, we argue. This is the place to be for the best community in all the world. And if you want to join the empire, please subscribe to the channel. Oh, and rate us 5 stars on every podcasting platform imaginable. Apple, Spotify, you name it, we're there. And if we're not, tell us, we will get there absolutely. And trust and believe, you're going to want to listen to this every single week, because this is the base to be when we want to have in-depth talks and details, breakdowns and predictions, outright just rhetoric and talking about the landscape of the sports world. This is the spot. Don't get, oh yeah, we are up and coming. We appreciate all of you coming in for the ride. Absolutely. But let's go into this whole situation with Picture and Picture right now, as we bring up the list that Bill Haney himself has put up for the world to see. That's right. These are the names in order that Devin Haney and Bill Haney seem to want to try to take down piece by piece. Number 1, Teofimo Lopez. And my goodness, Last week, Tuesday, we were just discussing that Tio was going to fight against Jerron Boots Ennis with everything I had seen and read. But however, now, maybe this could be the fight that actually takes place. Devin Haney versus Teofimo Lopez. And that does happen. Oh, I got some thoughts on that, absolutely. But first is Teofimo Lopez, number one on the hit list here. Then Shakur Stevenson. Then Gervonta Tank Davis third. Then Jerron Boots Ennis at 147. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Again, we'll get into the breakdown of the specifics with all these names later on. But again, some of these are raising a very high brow because of the level of talent that he's trying to go up against with what he's shown thus far. But again, we'll break down all that later on. John Boots Ennis at 4th, Brian Norman Jr. 5th, Mario Barrios 6th, Keyshawn David 7th, Rolly Romero then coming at 8th, Conor Ben at 9th, and then Ryan Garcia rounding out the top 10 for opponents that he wants to have seemingly in this order. Now, this is coming from Bill Haney. This most likely is also the sentiment made by Devin Haney as well. And let's not also forget, if we can bring it up right now, that Devin Haney has also, give me 1 second, let me go back from back from picture in picture into my thing while I go and search. Good gosh, hold on, wait, oh, no, don't look at my notes. Hey, you're not supposed to know what's coming on the show. You can't get my secrets, my formulas. How dare you try to take a beat? That's my fault. Look, we prep for this show. We get everything primed and ready so we can make sure that we do what we do. A little bit behind the scenes look as it may be. I ain't got nothing to hide, doggone. But as we're going through, as I quickly pull up this other tweet that is in fact very much notable with this whole list now, specifically when it comes to Devin Haney versus like Teofimo Lopez. This is another instance that we've seen before. We've gone through, I think we've gone through Devin Haney's hit list before, because I think he made one before. It was either that or Tank Davis. I think both of them actually had a hit list they were talking about wanting to do. But regardless of which, if I'm misremembering, please excuse me. But regardless of which, we are looking for Devin Haney to genuinely make himself proven. Because what we've seen last time didn't cut the mustard. But the names that he's trying to get at really are not. I don't think he's ready for most of them, if not all of them. Again, we talked about how with Devin Haney, we said this, I think, a couple weeks ago. Devin Haney doesn't duck smoke for wanting to fight competitive people. He hasn't done that. But what he has done is now show that there is a level that he's not at. There is a level now that he just isn't up at when it comes to the elites of elites in this realm of boxing. Whether it's because of just outright talent or because of his own boxing ability that he has shown that he wants to do, or how he goes about winning, it is not something that is viewed as genuinely good. We gotta keep it real. We gotta keep it real. There's some real concerns for this type of rhetoric, this type of reaching for the stars per se, not because we don't want great fighters to try to be great and chase greatness, but because the talent that we know Devin Haney is right now, we don't have any belief that many of those names can be beaten, specifically the likes of Teofimo Lopez. And again, as I got the tweet right now, Devin Haney even went on Twitter himself and was saying he wants the likes of Teo. As I pull it up right, right here. As you can very well see, Devin Haney, going off of another boxing commentator, Two-Tone the Superstar on Twitter, Two-Tone said Devin Haney versus Teo is one of the biggest fights in boxing. Devin Haney then reposted it. You can go see it right here on his page right now. So seemingly Devin Haney wants that smoke, and Haney wants to get at Teo as well. Now, again, with this new information of wanting to make these fights happen, we have to go back and we have to reiterate. What we know about Teo versus Boots is still speculation. Rumor mill that what I read seemed to be valid. However, if it is not, like I said before, we have no problem being wrong. We just want to give you the 411 on everything transpiring. This fight with Haney versus Tio can still absolutely happen. It is entirely possible. Let's not get it twisted in any way, shape, or form. This is still a valid and valuable fight that can potentially be made, especially off the backs of their performances on the same night. And people wanting to see, let's be honest, so a lot of people want to see Haney get beat in the division. Tio would be the guy to do it if it's not Ryan Garcia from a standpoint of outright physicality. From a boxing perspective, Tio is the best boxer at 140 pounds in my estimation, with Devin Haney as a technician being second. Though again, what we saw against Ramirez was not a very good indication of what that talent really can be in his most recent outing. With all that being said, if this fight does happen, let's get real. First about the list, then about Teofimo Lopez. The list itself is a list that is filled with a bunch of names that Devin Haney, if I'm being honest, he can't beat. He can't beat. It's filled with names that Devin Haney, he can't beat him. I'm not trying to be all boo-hoo. I'm not trying to be all, oh, woe is, or trying to hate, excuse me. But there's all the names that he has on his list. He cannot beat. Again, Tio, Shakur, Tank, Boots, Brian Norman Jr., Mario Barrios, Keyshawn Davis, Rolly, Conor Ben, Ryan Garcia. He cannot beat Tank Davis. He can't beat Boots. Definitely can't beat Boots. Definitely, I think he would struggle against Brian Norman Jr. I think he would struggle against Keyshawn Davis. I think, again, even with what we know about Ryan Garcia in the most recent bouts, he would struggle against Ryan Garcia again. And against Tio, more specifically, he gets beat. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 names of that list that I think he gets beat by. And even then, we can throw Conor Ben in there potentially too, because of the speed that he would have that would be able to, again, keep up with Devin Haney, and the shots that he took against Chris Eubanks Jr. in that war that they had, which again, I really want to see the rematch. He definitely don't got to worry about the power of Devin Haney, and he can keep up with Haney. He is definitely fast enough, and for Devin Haney, he's strong enough. He would be able to give him a lot of trouble. That's potentially 8 of the 10 names that he wouldn't be able to beat. Even Rolly Romero, right now, Rolly, the more mature Rolly Romero, the more experienced Rolly Romero, the more calm, cool, collected Rolly would potentially be able to give Haney some real trouble, especially what he has shown against the likes of Ryan Garcia, with him beating Ryan Garcia using simplistic but effective tactics. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying we can't throw that out the way that, hey, Rolly might not be as much of a shoo-in for the likes of Devin Haney to be able to fight against. This is not a easy thing. There's a bunch of people on this list that really have me concerned that Devin Haney's ability won't actually be enough to be able to win. And it is really indicative of the way that we view Devin Haney right now. Because at this point in time, also, give me 1 second. I'm sorry, something's in my, I need to check something real quick. Stay right here, I'll be right back. Okay, hey, my bad. I'm so sorry. I had to go and I had to check something real quick because something was off in my. I caught something at the corner of my eye, and I got concerned for a hot minute out my window. But no, we good, we okay. But these names are a lot of names that have a lot of question marks that Devin Haney at this point in time has not shown that he can elevate himself to prove himself against when the time comes, if he does face him. And again, this is another situation of, let's be real, we talked about Bill Haney before. We talked about Devin Haney, the tandem, the father writing checks that his son has to cash to be able to be successful. This is the concern when we look at Devin Haney, because of Devin Haney now having to be able to back up everything that his father is saying. Though, yes, he is embracing the underdog role. Yes, or not underdog, excuse me, the villain role. He wants to be hated, vilified. I get it. But this list is filled with people that if he wants to get exposed really of getting beat, these would be the names that would do that very thing. These would be the names that would indeed, make you the villain that gets his comeuppance. And for the wrestling fans out there, be the heel that gets everybody to say, yes, the bad guy finally got beaten. And we can finally end this storyline. Because like we've been saying on multiple occasions when it comes to the likes of Devin Haney is not in a state where he is in a good spot. He's not. Haney's not in a state where he's in a good standing position with the wider boxing public. Devin Haney is in a real precarious position where one loss can potentially be it. Not just mentally, but I'm talking about for his career. Because the only thing that has him as a commodity in the sport right now is his hateability and him being undefeated, quote unquote. And people want to have that finally on his resume concretely. This ain't like with Tank, where Tank will be able to sell regardless. This is like with Tio, where Tio can still he's lost, but he still can be a high profile name because he's excited. This is Devin Haney that we're talking about. He's not appealing to watch for the wider boxing public. He is somebody that also is hateable for a lot of people because they don't like his personality and his fighting style. And now he really is beatable. And fights, at least a recent, in a way that has everybody having a bad taste in their mouth and them not wanting to see him anymore on their television screens. They don't want to pay for that book. So since that's the case, this man is stacked, has the deck stacked against him where, like I've said previously, he cannot afford to lose. Haney cannot afford to lose. There is no way that Haney can afford to lose in any fashion because of the pins and needles, the fragile glass floor that he's got on him right now. He doesn't have to break through the ceiling. He's got to make sure he doesn't fall through the floor, because if he falls through the floor, he's not getting back up. And this, again, not trying to be a hater, not trying to be somebody who is all doom and gloom or just trying to heap a bunch of ill will sentiments on the side of Haney. It is the genuine, it is the genuine fear that Haney will not be able to be successful due to the objective bad light that he is consistently in regards to himself being I don't want to call him a bad commodity, but a very, how do we say this? Devin Haney is a valuable item that you can afford to lose, if that makes sense. Also, Jay Will, what's good with you? How you doing? Hey, good to see you. Glad that you're here. I don't know where everybody is. Normally we be having people packing out the joint. I don't know what's going on. I started relatively on time. Everything seemed to be going great. Next thing I know, ain't nobody showing up. I'm glad you're here. Glad you're back. People are going to trickle in at some point in time. Leave a like since you're here. I'm glad that you're here. Absolutely. And hey, I appreciate all that you do. Appreciate you being here. No question about it. Right now, we're talking about the list of Devin Haney. If you didn't know, Devin Haney has had a list put out by Bill Haney himself, as I will pull it up right now in the old hold on. In the old picture right here. And it is, hold on, I got it. There we go. Okay. Just trying to make sure I got these scenes switching correctly. There we go. And as you can see right now, here is the list that Haney has garnered for who he wants to fight in his career thus far, put out by Bill Haney himself. And that is Tio, Shakur, Tank, Boots, Brian Norman Jr., Barrios, Keyshawn Davis, Rowley, Connor Ben, Ryan Garcia in said order. Again, this is per Bill Haney in his own account. So now that we have that established, we are looking and saying, one, there's a bunch of people on this list that he can lose to. Two, Devin Haney right now is not in a position. Well, no, he's still in a position where, yeah, he can get these fights, but he is in a position where I don't know if he should take these fights at this point in time because of the fragile ground that he's on. Because as I just said, and now I can further explain my point, Devin Haney right now is a commodity that we can afford to lose. He's a commodity that the boxing world can afford to lose because right now he is not, outside of, again, the rematch of Ryan Garcia, which again has lost a lot of luster. A fight with Tank Davis that again has lost a lot of luster. If we don't see Devin Haney fight again, many people are gonna be okay. And I'm not saying this out of hate. I'm saying this like as a genuine fan. And like you said, Devin versus Cobbs. Cobbs isn't on that list. Devin Haney versus Blair Cobb. He's not on that list of people that would fight. Now, if he wants to get some momentum and potentially get a fight, well, okay, yeah, it's a good win, and it would well, I mean, if he lost, yeah, it would be still bad, but it's a more quote unquote, well, I don't even think I can say less debilitating loss. But if he wants to fight Blair Cobb, a lower name, actually, I don't think he's gonna do it. I don't think he would do it. I don't think I see you having Blair Cobb up there. I don't even think he would do that because Haney right now is in a real. How do I need to make sure I get my words right because I don't want to misspeak and lead somebody astray. But at this point in time, Haney, here it is. I got it. Here we go. Haney is in a rock and a hard place at this point in time. And real quick, Devin versus T.O. is interesting because we saw T.O. struggle to cut off the ring against Jermaine Ortiz. You're right. You are right. He did struggle to cut off the ring against Jermaine Ortiz. But also, you have to also remember that version of Teofimo Lopez also wasn't this version of T.O. That was during that stretch of really concerning efforts between when T.O. was questioning himself. Not knowing really what to make of himself. Again, all the outside the ring drama. In the ring, he was not fighting like Gordo Lopez, like we know him as, consistently. This T.O., I think, does a better job than he did against Ortiz. Now, full disclaimer, I watched that Ortiz fight, and yes, I think Ortiz, there's a good argument he should have won that fight. No question. I am not denying that in the slightest. But what is apparent that I see now, this T.O. and that T.O., they're not the same T.O. So I don't think the same mistake comes into play when it comes to this fight in particular. Also, Pal Booger, what's good with you? How you doing? Thanks. Glad that you tuned in. And thanks to you. Biscuits and Groovy. Hey, brother. How you doing? Glad that you're back. Glad that you're here. Thank y'all for tuning in. And see, I told you, we're going to have some people showing up in a little bit. Just give it some time. Give it some energy. But hey, we back in the saddle. Also, if you're here, leave a like on the stream if you would. We've had some great talks and conversations, and we would love it to get the word out to the vast public. If you would, please leave a like on the stream. Keep on chatting for the world to be able to see, and we're going to make sure that we get this. Again, I'm telling you, every time I think I got this thing figured out, it keeps on failing me. I don't know why. I don't get why, but again, we're going to fix it regardless. But again, glad to see you. Glad that y'all are tuning in. Right now, we're talking about Devin Haney and his list, and more specifically, Haney is in a rock in a hard place because Haney, with his fight career right now, he cannot afford to lose. And also, he can't afford to go below a level of competition. He can't. Because, I mean, again, this is a business, is it not? If he doesn't fight any other big name, he's not making any money. J. Will, you brought up Blair Cobb. he won't make a cent from that fight with Blair Cobb, not because Blair Cobb isn't respectable. No, he is. But Blair Cobb at this point in time is not at that name brand level that would get anybody to want to tune in strictly because of the weight that Devin Haney brings that fight down to based on this last performance. Would it be a good fight? Absolutely. Will Devin Haney do it? Absolutely not, because Devin Haney feels he's above that level of fighter. And if he loses then against Blair Cobb, well then it's done. It's done. It's done. Like what else would there be? What else would there be to say about Devin Haney if he then lost to Blair Cobb, a low risk and potentially high, a low reward and potential high risk based on what he's already done, that even if he did win, he would get even more bad press because it would probably be in the same vein based on what we saw in this last fight. Because I'm really scared that this Devin Haney that we see now is the Devin Haney that we're going to get going forward for the rest of his career. That's the concern. And so this ain't even the Haney that fought against Prograis. This ain't the Haney that fought against Lomachenko. This ain't the Haney in the slightest. This is a completely new Devin Haney that is nowhere close to the same level of fighter that we've seen in the past even. And even back then, people didn't like the way that he fought. This is a problem. He can't afford to go below anything. And if he does indeed lose at any point in time, that's an incredibly demeaning thing, especially if it's not against a well-known name. Hence why that list is consisted of a bunch of big-time talent with legitimate, respectable names, absolutely, but all of whom would beat the likes of Devin Haney. Like they would. And if anything, as we keep on going through, we can go to the where's the next cue card? We got where's it at? Where is it? Here we go. Right here. If we really want to go that way, we want to talk about the first name on that list, which is Tio. Haney versus Tio. He loses that fight. He loses that fight. Let's be real. I'll ask you all. Do you or do you not believe that he would lose that fight? Because I wholeheartedly believe he doesn't got a chance against Tio. This version of Tio versus this version of Haney, he ain't got a chance at winning. No chance at winning. Even with him running, he ain't got a chance at winning. Because, again, this Tio ain't the Tio that Jermaine Ortiz faced off against. And this Tio is not going to just let Haney run. Mind you, Haney, the way that Haney ran was not, the way that Haney ran only worked because, to a degree, Ramirez was oh so slow. Genuine. Ramirez had no ability to keep up with the likes of Haney in the slightest in that fight. No way was Ramirez keeping up with Haney. That was the biggest thing. Can Ramirez, even with Ramirez having relentless pressure, can Ramirez catch Haney at all? And he couldn't. His feet are too slow to be able to track him down and take the proper angles. Tio doesn't have that problem. We know Tio doesn't have that problem. We can, even with the fight with Jermaine Ortiz in the back of our minds, even then, he still doesn't have that problem. Even in the fight against Sandor Martin, that, again, I do feel that he lost. Just like a similar thing with Ortiz, he was still able to close the gap against him a lot better than Ramirez did. A whole lot better than Ramirez. He was able to close that distance significantly more effectively than what we saw Ramirez do, even in those two performances. So I'm really not able to sit here and have Haney in a highlight against somebody like Teofimo Lopez in the slide. But hold on, let me read what you all got to say. Isn't that always a problem when you with you being at the top, you can't lose and you can't. Hold on. I'm tweaking for a minute. Let me rephrase that. Bitches and groovy. Isn't that always a problem with being at the top? You can't lose and you can't nobody's anymore. Yes, but there is a difference. There is a difference. Haney can't lose because, not just because he's at the top, but it's more so because he won't be able to get back up there. The only thing that keeps Haney really in the mind's eye is the record and the hate train. If Devin Haney was not in boxing, and I don't say this as a bad thing. I'm saying this as reality, based on what the public's feeling. If Devin Haney was not in boxing, boxing would not change. It would not be a worse sport without Devin Haney. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I am saying based on the feelings of the public right now. We've had other fighters at the top that can lose and still be something. Tyson Fury is getting ready to make his comeback. People still want to see that brother. Even after he lost 2 times to Usyk. Wilder lost 3 times, got knocked out twice, bad. And people still want to see him. If Tank lost, people would still want to see Tank. Canelo lost, and people still want to see Canelo. Benavidez, if he lost against Bivol or Beterbiev at light heavyweight, would still be wanted to be seen by the public eye. Terrence Crawford, if he lost, would still want to be seen. We still want to see Errol Spence Jr. right now. And Errol Spence was seen at that point in time when he faced off against Crawford as the best welterweight in the world and objectively a better fighter. That's what a lot, or at least half of the boxing public felt, with the other half having Canelo. But even when he got destroyed against Crawford, people still to this day are asking where he's at because they want to see him. They want to witness him. They still have valid intrigue for him. They don't have that for Devin Haney. And so since they don't have that for Devin Haney, there's nothing that is keeping him afloat outside of we just want that one loss. Because the way you fight doesn't make me want to see you. Your personality doesn't make me want to like you. Your dad isn't helping out the fact that I want to be a fan. And the only reason why I want to watch you is only to see your downfall. But that's only against the best of the best. Because we know if somebody isn't elite, you're going to beat them. And you're going to beat them in a fashion that we don't want to see. So we won't want to care. Hence, we won't want to pay. But you faced off against a Boots, you faced off against a T.O., we'll pay for that. Because we expect to see another performance that we saw against Ryan Garcia and get an actual O on your resume, and then boom, we don't got to worry about you no more. Because now your levels been proven, you got tested, you failed like a lot of people expect you to fail due to what you showed in your last fight. And now it's done. You're still a big name, but unless you're fighting any of these other big names, we definitely don't want to see you anymore. And after you lose, even you fighting other big names, then that's going to be decreased because now the public finally got what they've been waiting to see. The wider public. What seems to be the ire of many is the way that Haney fights and his dad. So this is exactly why I was saying you don't want to be the villain if you're Devin Haney. You don't. You really don't. Because you're not built for it. You ain't got the talent for it. And you won't be able to handle that fall from grace. And by talent, I mean the people that you would have to beat to help bolster your commodity into going only beyond making big money from the biggest names in the sport to making money all across the sports world because you are wanted to be seen. Now, not saying he's broke. I'm not saying he isn't making money, but where he feels his stardom should be. The reason why it's not there is because of the fact that when I say we, I mean the vast majority of the boxing public don't want to see him do what he did against Jose Ramirez against everybody. Because we know you'll win and it won't be great with anybody that's below you. But anybody on your level, like we saw against Ryan Garcia, all of a sudden, now things change. So at this point in time, there is a stark contrast between how Devin Haney performed previously versus now. That has us saying, well, if you do face off against a Boots or a Haney, or a T.O., like, brother, that is bad. Even with Shakur Stevenson, right now, though that fight would be, though that fight would be a fight that would be I don't know how good that would be viewed from the standpoint of Shakur versus Devin, because they're both incredibly defensive. I don't even think he would beat Shakur, because Shakur is better at doing what Devin Haney does than Devin Haney. And Shakur, if his hands are healthy, can walk you down and is as big as you and can be able to outbox you. In my opinion, it's faster. There's a bunch of stuff. So it's like, it's like Haney's on a slippery slope. He's on a fragile glass floor. There's a ceiling to break, absolutely. But there is a very fragile floor that Devin Haney can't afford to lose right now. And that hit list that he put out with T.O., with Boots, with Shakur, Brian Ormer Jr., Mario Barrios, Keyshawn Davis, I genuinely believe he loses most of those fights. All those people that he wants to say he wants to get back at, I don't think he beats. I don't. And because he also can't afford to lose, it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be bad. And I really think this is the exact problem I had with Haney. You taking the villain role means that you have to be perfect, especially if you're not an exciting villain. Because again, losses don't make or break a fighter. No, the fighter makes or break a fighter. You can lose and still be successful. You can lose and still be seen. You can lose and still be wanted. But you can also lose, and that's it. At the drop of a hat, it's done. Your time at the top is over, gone. And that normally happens when you are a unintriguing commodity that is backed up by your record more than your talent in the eyes of the public boxing audience. And once that talent shows some cracks against the people that you're supposed to be up there with, then people are going to say, okay, we don't have to worry about you anymore. And the road back up is incredibly daunting. And the reputation is potentially permanently damaged. Something you either never get to recover, or it's incredibly hard to recover from. That's where Haney is right now. In any situation, he can't afford to lose. But also in any situation, he can't afford to go backwards. And if he does go and lose, then that's it from the standpoint of major acclaim. But if he wins against, again, low-level talent, people aren't going to want to care. So the only talent is upwards, which is good, but it's also bad because Haney can't beat that level of talent, at least not in my eyes. Not T.O., can't beat T.O. Not Boots, will get killed by Boots. Shakur, I don't think he can beat Shakur. Brian Ormer Jr., I don't think he can beat him. Ryan Garcia, it's still, at this point in time, it's 50-50 with that fight. Based on both of their last performances, it's 50-50. Even Rowley is in that mix for potentially being somebody that Devin Haney has to be concerned about, though he's low on the totem pole for what the list has that Bill Haney put out that his son wants to face. There are 8 names, like I said previously, that Devin Haney would be in trouble against, almost assuredly, at this level in boxing, at this point in time in his career. And that list, that might not be a hit list that he really wants to go about right now, because it ain't looking, right at this point in time, it's not looking good. It ain't looking good from my personal perspective with that list going up against those names when it comes to his talent currently at this point in time. It's just my humble opinion. But again, I would love to hear from you. What do you feel about this whole situation with Devin Haney, the hit list, him fighting against T.O., and the essentially everything surrounding what we're seeing right now with Haney? I would love to hear your opinions and thoughts on it all. Because again, I don't want to overshadow, and plus I want to make sure I read the chat. Also, and please, if you would, Leave a like on the stream if you're here. Comment your thoughts. I'm glad that y'all are listening. We got 9 people here. Hey, ho, ho. We got 9 people in the chat. Everybody's invested. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But at the same time, we also want to make sure we keep on giving. We got 10 people, actually. My goodness. Oh, yes, indeed. And y'all are staying. This is great. This is phenomenal. But let me see what you have to say. I would love to hear from you. And yet again, I am running into some issues with my chat not being able to bring it up. Please don't tell me I got to update this thing, because it should have been updated a long time ago, and we should be riding out. But while I'm getting it situated, I'll still read what you all have to say. You say, yeah, I don't like that fight for Haney at all. I agree with you, Al Booga. Also, Al Booga, if I didn't say hi to you, what's good with you? How you doing? I'm glad that you're here. No question about it. Let's see. I don't like T.O. at all, but I think he beats Haney. I agree. Who's the better trainer, T.O. Sr. or Bill Haney? That's a good question. See, they both only train each other. They both only train their sons, at least I think. I think that the repertoire that we've seen T.O. have, which was taught by his dad, I think is better than the repertoire that we've seen Devin Haney show in the whole of his fighting style. But it's tough. It's tough to say, because what T.O. is also because of his own innate talent. Devin Haney, dang it, I don't know. I'm almost wanting to say Bill, or no, I mean T.O. Sr., because I think he created a better, well-rounded fighter in Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney. But also Teofimo Lopez has a higher ceiling that he can unlock and use more attributes to than Devin Haney has in his own tool belt. And so I can't say for sure, because I think they both only train each other, or both only train their sons. But based on product of what we've seen, I might have to say T.O. Sr. I might have to. Because I think he's given his son better repertoires of skills to use and garner and actively display against all levels of opponent that I don't think I've seen from Devin Haney. But again, it could be because also Devin can't do the things that T.O. does. So that's kind of up in the air. Let's see. Jason Radcliffe, I almost haven't seen you. How you doing, brother? Hey, my brother, Haney, I think Haney should try for the U.S. Relay TL because he running around. Let's see. Boot. Let's see. Oh, Coach Eddie in Atlanta. What's good with you? Hey, how you doing? Glad that you're here. Appreciate you being in on the show. Glad that you tuning in. If you're here again, please like the stream. I do enjoy it. We're going to get these chats up. I'm gonna get it done. Absolutely. We just gotta make sure we get everything situated. I am working my butt off to make sure we get everything working accordingly while we're still doing the show. But again, we still got a whole bunch to cover on this show. We got a return in the boxing world that we do need to discuss in the realm of. Let me see it. Oh wait, no. Before that. Moving on from Devin, from actually, one more thing about Devin Haney, because I almost forgot it. Devin said that he wants to fight Tank in that hit list, and he's 4th or 5th on the list. This is another reason that I don't like that this Haney potentially is going to fight Tank, regardless of what we saw against Welch. Because if Tank does indeed ever fight against Haney, and this hit list does come to fruition, Haney's going to die. Haney's going to die. There's 2 people that are going to kill Devin Haney. It's going to be Tank, and it's going to be Boots. T.O.'s going to beat him. Absolutely. T.O.'s going to beat him if they ever fight. Tank's going to knock him out. Because Haney's going to fight too scared. Boots is going to, T.O.'s going to knock him out. Because he's going to do the same thing they did against Ramirez. Tank's going to kill him because he's going to do the same thing that Haney did against Ramirez. And Boots is going to kill him. The level of destruction is going to be so much worse because Haney's now going up against two people that have everything that you have, while at the same time, you have the one you don't have the one thing that could make you be able to beat them, which is you don't have their respect at all. That's the biggest thing about this whole list, but specifically with those two names. You don't have their respect. Tank doesn't respect you. Boots doesn't respect you. Not from the standpoint of a fighter, but from a fighter, it's in like, yo, you don't have good talent. They don't respect you in the ring because you don't bring anything that would make them be able to stop. You don't bring anything that would make them be able to be concerned, be worried, to make it hard for them to cut off the ring, to make it difficult for them to actually catch you. You bring nothing. And your offense, based on what we saw against Ramirez, is going to be so stringent. It's going to be so constricted because of how we saw you fight against Ramirez, which was a timid nature. You won't have any offense to give back to be able to fight them off. And you're going to die. You're going to get destroyed. You're going to get killed. That's the biggest reason. Haney, of every major hitter in that whole list, between 140 and 147, he doesn't have the respect of anybody to be able to say, you can't keep me off of you when I want to go get you. Because I'm not Ramirez. I'm not Cambosos. You ain't got that. It's crazy to think Devin Haney had a KO of the year in 2019. Yeah, it is crazy. It's wild. It's crazy that they have. It's crazy that in 22? Was it 22 or early 23? I was saying Devin Haney was a different beast at 140 because of what he did against Prograis, who hadn't been stopped, who hadn't been dropped, who I hadn't even seen being stunned. He dropped him and stunned him and wobbled him multiple times in that fight. I was saying that, but it had some pop, had some power. Lo and behold, what a fool was I. What a fool to think that Devin Haney was going to be consistent throughout the whole of the night. This Devin Haney right now is the real Devin Haney. At this point in time, it wasn't the Devin Haney that we saw against Lomachenko. It wasn't. This ain't even the Devin Haney that we saw against Cambosos. This Devin Haney currently is the Devin Haney that we have going forward. This Devin Haney got ruined by Ryan Garcia, regardless of how that fight went down with a no contest. He got ruined. Mentally, he got ruined. He did. Yes, I capitulate. Everything that I said would happen to Devin Haney happened to Ryan Garcia against Rolly Romero. Ryan Garcia got gunshot. Ryan Garcia got caught and was scared to throw. Ryan Garcia's offense became rudimentary. Ryan Garcia was not able to do what Ryan Garcia normally does. But Haney, in that same breath, also had that happen to him. Yes, he got the win, but the way that he got that win was like when we saw Shakur fight against De Los Santos when he won, but in an abysmal fashion. But the only difference is Haney was, Shakur was injured. Shakur was injured for that fight. And so to a degree, he had to do that. When he got his hands back healthy again, he didn't fight like that against Hartunian. He didn't fight like that against Josh Padley, did he? He fought closer to what he did against Yoshino, to what he did against Jermaine Ortiz, to what he did against Oscar Valdez. We can call Shakur, or people can call Shakur boring all he wants. Shakur and Devin Haney, they are not the same. They are, Shakur and Devin Haney, they are not the same. They are not the same. Let's be real. Shakur and Devin Haney, they are not the same. We've had our gripes with both. We've talked about both. We've critiqued both properly and fairly, because we don't do biased stuff. We don't try to, on this show, for those of you who are new, we don't try to do the whole means of just hating on people. Oh, somebody ain't great. This, that, and that. We don't do that. We try to keep it as fair as possible. But with that fairness, we also have to have a reality. This Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson, they are not the same fighter. at all. They are not the same at all. And I'm not comparing talent. What I'm about to say, I am comparing talent from the standpoint of I think Shakur is better than Devin Haney. But from the standpoint of the comparison I'm about to say, I'm not comparing greatness nor talent, but I'm comparing similarities. Devin Haney and Shakur are completely different. Shakur fights closer to what we know Floyd fought like. In the pocket, distance management, being able to still do great work while being in the fire, as y'all coined the phrase, swim without getting wet. Being able to dive in the pool without making a splash. Going through the jungle and not touching a leaf. That's what Shakur does more than Devin Haney. For real. That is legitimate boxing. What Devin Haney's doing right now, that's not that. That's not that in the slightest. And that's not that in the slightest at all. There is a night and day difference between Shakur and Haney at this stage in their career. They, in my opinion, they're not comparable right now. Yes, they're both defensive. Sure, they both share some similarities of mentality. But also how they fight, it's completely different. It's completely different. And at this point in time, one is objectively better than the other. At this current point in time, Shakur is better than Devin Haney right now. In my again, you can disagree, I get it, but in my humble opinion, that's what the case is right now. And so it's like certain names he can't beat. Other certain names, he's gonna die. But most of that list, he can't beat. He can't win against. I don't care what his dad says. He can't win. He cannot win against it. But again, we still got more to cover on this show. Speaking of Tank, we need to discuss something that I just found a new revelation about Tank. And I don't want to talk about it. I know. Please, I know. I don't want to talk about this at all. I don't. I really don't. I really don't. I really don't want to talk about this. But I have to, because it brings another conversation involving Tank that is necessary, that I've been trying to talk about for the longest time, or trying to discuss for months on end when it comes to Tank Davis. Jake Paul went on Ariel Helwani and got full and gave essentially a better detailed breakdown of what that fight would have been and the stipulations were going to be for Tank versus Jake Paul in that fight. And in fact, I can bring it up right now for you all to see. And so not from my mouth, but from his. And at this point in time, this makes me really, actually, I don't think I got the clip. Doggone it, I don't think I got the clip. Well, I'll explain it regardless of which. I'll just do the word of mouth. Tank and Jake Paul, as we know, if Tank had beat Welch, he would have fought Jake Paul. We hate it, despise it. It was going to happen. Jake Paul went on Ariel Helwani, gave further details as to what that fight was going to consist of. And it was going to be 10 rounds, 3 minutes, exhibition, no restrictions, and weight of 195 pounds. Now, that is just ludicrous. That's just ridiculous. That is insane. That is preposterous for multitudes of reasons. Let's see. Also, Night Rider, what's going on with you? How you doing? Hey, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Glad that you're here. Hopefully you'll leave a like on the stream. If you would, please, everybody who's here, leave a like on the stream. We got 13 people. Hey, we reaching some highs on this channel. Absolutely. People are loving it, at least for our normal shows. Of course, we get some decent amount of people for the live streams for when we call the fights. But on the whole, this is good. This is great. We love this. Absolutely. So please leave a like on the stream if you are listening right now and you like what you're hearing. And please join in on the conversation. We can read your chats, read your comments, and get all this stuff ready for you all to be able to have your voice be heard right here on this show. But let me see what you had to say. Jake Paul is trolling. He said the fight was going to be at 195 pounds. That's cap. I don't think that was cap. Genuinely, I don't. Because based on the track record also of everything else that had been done with Jake Paul, and as well, the fight was just about agreed upon It was going to happen. Let's be real. Let's be frank. It was going to happen. It wasn't not going to happen. It was almost set in stone. Jake Paul's words were that the weight was too much of a discrepancy for that fight to take place, which is why it never got the full go-ahead. And on top of the fact that, again, Tank lost, or rather Tank got a draw to Lamont Roach, though I feel he lost that fight, regardless of which. Because of the outcome of Tank versus Roach, Jake Paul versus Tank ultimately wasn't able to happen. But also, even if it did go through, stipulations of the weight would have been a concerning thing that, per Jake Paul's words, most likely would have potentially shot it down. Potentially. I say potentially very strongly because that money would have been enough, most likely to still pass it through regardless. But the whole point I'm bringing this up, the very fact that that fight was going to happen at all, is another situation as to why I keep on saying, this is the problem with Gervonta Davis. This is exactly why I have an issue. Because let's not forget, this man said he wasn't going to fight at 140 pounds because it is too big for him to be able to compete. His words, not mine. He's comfortable at 135. His words, not mine. His own fans have said that you can't put Tank against the likes of Tio, against the likes of Ryan Garcia at 140 or other great fighters at the higher divisions because it is too big for him. Their words, not mine. I am not trying to make any egregious claims. I'm going off of what the fans and more specifically the fighter has said about this whole thing. Now, with these details of not even having Jake Paul coming down to, dare I say, 160 to make that fight happen. The fight would have happened at 190. The notion that knowing that Jake Paul fights, has fought upwards of heavyweight, has campaigned at 190 to 180, just about for his most recent run in boxing. And you would take that fight, but not fight the likes of Tio at 140. Not fight the likes of even Haney at 140. Not move up in the slightest at one. Not even fight a Richardson Hitchens at 140. Just to be able to get what I would think would be an easy belt because your league's better than Richardson Hitchens, and Hitchens is a champion. Hitchens is about to fight Kambosos at 140. And you're better than both of them. Clearly you're better than them. And you're already knocked out Mario Barrios when Barrios is closer to his prime as an undersized fighter. So you've done this before. You could do it again. But now you're saying it's too much. But then you'll fight Jake Paul at reportedly 195 pounds. That is not okay. And it further speaks to the problem I've had with Tank all this time. It's never been his boxing ability. It's never been his talent. It's never been his power. It's always been up here. It's always been up here. The way he thinks about the sport is a problem. The way he's gotten other people to think about the sport also is a problem. Because it is no longer about you doing what we know you can do. It has become the easiest route to money. And we've covered this before. He wants his money. Once he leaves boxing, he said we'll never see him again because he doesn't care for the spotlight and all this stuff. We get it. But the whole other issue is also you can't talk like you talk and then not walk like you need to walk to show that you are indeed true to the game and true to yourself. Also, Coach Eddie, I almost missed your chat. Do I have a StreamYard? No, I don't have a StreamYard. Sadly, I don't. I don't think I do. If I did, I might have made one. I can't remember. I've been using OBS Studio, which I think is the preferred streamer's choice when it comes to streaming platforms as a whole. And right now I am updating it as we speak so we can show these chats to the public so that we can can bring y'all up on the screen like you've seen before on the show. But regardless of which, it is a real bad issue that Tank continues to, again, every time something comes out about that fight or Tank's career, it further proves the point that I've been saying that Tank is not about the legacy of fighting. Even with him saying, I got more in the tank in me, retracting his statement of trying to retire in 2025 this year, having more than just 3 fights in him, per his words, not mine, which we love. We can't wait for it. We want to see the rematch with Lamont Roach over in July. Or excuse me, August. It's either July. No, August 16th. We want to see that rematch, absolutely. But then afterwards, what comes next? What is your success going to be afterwards? What is your career going to be after that? Because now you got the test that we've been looking for with you versus an opponent that, hey, is taking you somewhere, is doing some good work against you, has shown that they can actually get up to your level. Now you're rematching them. We love it. Once you get past this stopgap, and it's a big if, you beat Lamont Roach, then what? Do you then go back down? Do you then fight somebody else at 130? Do you fight Shakur? Because remember, Shakur versus Tank is what Pacquiao Sheik said that he wants to happen, depending on if Shakur beats Zepeda. If Zepeda beats Shakur, Zepeda gets a big fight in Mexico. Shakur beats Zepeda, if Shakur beats Zepeda, Shakur gets Tank, or he's going to work to get Tank, per Pacquiao Sheik. And apparently, if Calvin Ford's already getting posted on Turkey social media, that would mean that for some way down the line, Tank is okay with that. And so, if that's what happens, great. Love it. But with the track record that we know Tank has done throughout the whole of his tenure at the top of the mountain, I don't know what to expect from Tank Davis. You don't know what to expect from Tank Davis. We all don't know what to expect from Gervonta Davis. Whether you're a fan or whether you're a hater or whether you're just an in-between, I don't care which side of the aisle you fall on. When you look at Tank Davis, you don't know what to expect. Because what we expect to happen never happens. The greatness we expect to see him walk into, he never walks into. The steps to fighting great fights that we expect for him to now go and follow, he doesn't follow. And it is a concerning effort to avoid top talent that we've seen on a consistent basis. It's just like with Canelo, the recent resume has been weak. Just like with Canelo, we want to see him go up against the biggest of big from the standpoint of comparative talent. For Canelo's Dave Benavidez, for Tank, it's 3 names. Dare I say 4. T.O., Devin, Ryan, and shoot. At that point, you can put in whoever you want as the 4th guy. Shakur. Even Loma. Keyshawn Davis. That's 6 names that we want to see Tank get in the ring with, and he hasn't done it. Even after this Roach fight, which again, Roach is now added to that list, even after that Roach fight, depending on the outcome, regardless of the outcome, what's going to be next? If Tank wins and he doesn't do anything, are we going to praise it? I'm not. If Tank wins and then goes back to try to make a fight with Jake Paul, that's going to be a problem, is it not? If Tank wins and continually does not go and try to look for a fight with Shakur, is that not going to be a problem? If Tank wins, even if Tank loses, and then goes for an even worse type of talent, would that not be a problem? He can't go back. I'm okay with Tank losing. The loss ain't the problem. This ain't like with Devin Haney, where if he loses, it's going to be done. Most likely for his stardom, because people don't care about him. People care about Tank. A loss won't affect Tank nearly as much. If anything, we would want to see how he grows from there. But the issue is taking the test, taking the challenge, taking adversity, and evolving yourself. That's all we want to see against the best of the best in your division and beyond. If you all want to say anyway needs to come up to 130 to fight the likes of Tank, it's only what 6 pounds? It's 122, 23, 45, 67, 29, 30. If y'all saying it's only 8, if people are saying it's only an 8-pound difference for anyway to come up and fight against Tank at a weight of 130, why is that such a big problem? Then it shouldn't be a big issue for you to say that Tank should be able to move up 5 pounds to, or move up 5 pounds to 140 from 135 to fight people, if you really want to go by that logic. Though we know that in a way moving up from 8 pounds It's not the same as Tank moving up 5, especially when Tank has already done it before. Especially when Tank already faced off against a 6-foot knockout artist in Mario Barrios and knocked him out. There isn't an excuse at this point in time. And this new light on the fight with Jake Paul further sheds light on the big issue with Tank, which is you won't take the test in front of you, but you will go back on your own words against a bum. But against elites at your own division or even 5 pounds above where you already were, you won't go. Does that speak to the mentality of the fighter themselves? Not just that my pride can't take losing. I don't want to risk losing. There's a difference in saying I don't want to lose. Everybody's pride takes a hit if they lose. We understand that. Nobody wants to lose. We're not saying, oh, you shouldn't be afraid of losing. No, you don't want to lose. I get it. That's not the concern. The concern is you not taking the chance. That's the problem. That is the problem. Leveraging your power to be able to avoid competition. That's the problem. That shouldn't be. And that's, again, this fight with Jake Paul further shows the issue at hand when we look at this whole thing. You can't crush Tank for something that didn't happen. He hasn't fought Jake Paul and isn't. Again, Knight Rider, it was genuinely set in stone. He avoided the question. When the right answer came from the reporter in the post-fight press conference for Roach versus Tank 1, when Tank was asked, there were rumors that that there was going to be a big fight that you were going to call out in the middle of the ring if you had won. Who was the name that you were going to call? And he said, they were in the locker room with me. They guessed Shakur. He shook his head no. Somebody yelled out Jake Paul, and then Tank paused, looked away, and then said, next question. The silence was deafening, and the anonymity spoke to the answer. He was going to fight it. Jake Paul had put out videos of him fighting Tank, not because to troll, because it was going to happen. I'm not doing this off of just hearsay. We're going off of the track record of literally what Jake Paul had done every single time a fight had actively got made. Every single time. The same formula of marketing, rumor mill, into reality. Jake Paul posted something to validate it. All of that. It was set in stone. It was going to happen. That's not me trying to make up speculation. It was going to happen. And it can still happen. If he beats Roach, if he knocks out Roach in dominant fashion, that fight can still happen. We've covered this on the show before. This isn't me trying to just do hearsay. This thing can still happen. This thing can still happen if he beats Roach again. It's not out the question. Because he's already gone back on his word on multiple occasions. Both Jake Paul and Tank. This ain't a one-sided street. It's a two-way street. Both of them been doing the same thing. They say something, then they do something different. They claim something, but then they don't have a fight that proves that level of worth. And so because we knew this was going to happen, this is a major problem. The evidence was there. The anonymity was so indicative. And the anonymous nature of Tank trying to keep it a secret. And then all of a sudden you can literally see like, yeah, that was going to happen on his face. And Jake coming out and saying, yeah, it was going to happen. Let's not forget, we said that Jake Paul versus Canelo wouldn't happen. Lo and behold, it almost did. If Canelo didn't sign with Riyadh Season, didn't sign with Turkey and get that 4-fight deal that he wanted to with Turkey Al Sheikh, that is an exorbitant amount of money, Canelo was going to fight Jake Paul. It was going to happen. It was. That wasn't a fluke. It was going to happen. It's a problem. It's a big problem. It is still a big problem on all sides of the street. But talking about Tank specifically because of what has now come out, it just speaks to the issue that I've been saying multiple times. Tank is a great fighter. Tank can fight at 140. Tank can fight up to 147. Tank is a sublime talent who we just want to see proven against some of the best that was at 135 and you didn't fight them, that moved up to 140, a division you fought at and you still don't fight them now. You can't keep like this in your career and expect to have a legacy that people are going to look at and respect down the line. This is why I keep saying, if Tank keeps moving like this, he is going to be forgotten to history. And it's not because I'm trying to hate. It's because he didn't accomplish anything that makes us look at him as a fighter of epic proportions. We're going to remember him and say, oh yeah, that buddy was exciting. Oh yeah, he was incredible. Oh, we love to watch him fight. Didn't do much. But brother, he was exciting to see. Had a hot start and then tapered off. And it's going to be like, man, what could have wasted potential? I don't want to have a wasted potential conversation with Tank. I don't. You don't. I've been saying Tank can do what Roberto Duran did. Tank can move up and be great and be successful because Duran did it. Duran got all the way up to light heavyweight. That brother fought at lightweight. It's arguably the greatest lightweight in history. And so I'm not trying to hold anybody a different standard. I'm trying to keep everybody at that same greatness level. If we say that you are this level of talent, and we've seen others at your similar level of talent in the past do this, you can do this too, or at least you can try. But we wouldn't be saying you can do this if it wasn't shown that you could, especially if you did it before. We want you to follow greatness and make a legacy, not just try to go and essentially ride off of hype instead of just prove what you are. That's all we ask. Prove what you are. That's all we want. That's literally all we want. Prove what you are so we can praise you like you deserve to be. But if you keep moving like this, and if you keep on moving like this after Roach especially, we have to call a spade a spade. And we can't go and just let it slide. We can't. We've had that on this channel. We can't let it slide. And people who have been following me longer on the show, you know how we do this. We don't try to just jump the shark. Give praise where praise is due, and we critique where critique needs to be had. And then we go and change based on what the outcomes have shown. We don't try to do a campaign of anything. We try to tell the story of the sport the right way, at least the best that I can do it, because that's what you all deserve. And we got to call it like we see it, or at least I had to call it like we see it. If you disagree, hey, we can have our debates, but I truly believe it's a major problem. I truly believe it's a major problem. Let me see. One thing, let me see. We got people commenting right now. If Tank versus Jake happens, will Jake make Tank throw the fight, or do you think Tank will try to hurt Jake? And Tank has some really hard punches. Tank is not going to throw that fight with Jake. Because you have to understand, if Tank lost to Jake Paul, do you know the level of damage that would do to him? If even with him being undersized, if Tank lost to Jake Paul, one, hey, credit to Jake if he does that. Credit to Jake if he does that. My gosh, would never expect it, because he's still not good now. He's beating people 55, almost 60 years old, or fighters that don't box at all and have been retired from the sport for multiple years. The only actual prime fighter he faced off against was Tommy Fury, who is a bum in his own right, and Tommy Fury beat him. Jake has gotten better, yes, but he's gotten better from the standpoint of if he fought against a good amateur, a good amateur, it would be a potential slightly competitive fight, or he gets beat but puts on a respectable performance. But anything above good, he loses against. We know this. He got caught against Mike Tyson at 56 years old in the first round. Multiple times. The reason why he won that fight with Tyson was because Tyson could not move. Tyson could not move. Like, Anderson Silva, 46-something years old, ain't fought, just got into boxing. Yes, he beat Julio Cesar Chavez, understandable. Or excuse me, he beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who was on drugs in and out of rehab. He's about to fight Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. again, who hasn't been committed to the sport and who knows how long. He has been in rehab in and out even longer in the sport than when he fought against Anderson Silva. Yes, he's younger. Yes, he's a former champion. Nobody's taking him seriously in 10 years because he's not committed to the sport at all. He's not spending hours in the gym anymore. He has let the life of the sport, he has let the fame of the sport and his own lack of discipline rob him of everything. We know he's nowhere close to the fighter that he should be. And he's fighting, again, people that he always has a weight advantage against, like with Devin Haney, ironically enough. One of the biggest critiques about Devin Haney, he fights people that he's bigger than, hence why he's able to be so successful. When we look at the likes of Jake Paul, every matchup he's been in, it has always been he is bigger than his opponent by a wide margin. A wide margin. Or he is younger than them by a wide margin. And strictly by that fact of youth, he's able to beat his opponents, who also, the majority of them, never boxed before. Mike Perry fought bare knuckle boxing. That brother is a brawler with no defense whatsoever and his toughness and with toughness. And still he came in leagues heavier than him. Weight class was out the wazoo. And Mike Perry has no stamina. It wasn't even great in the UFC. This is like Tank's not going to throw that fight. If Tank lost, it would be because Tank actually lost. Because like we said, Tank's pride won't let him lose. We know that. He would only take that fight if he knew he would kill Jake Paul. That's the only reason why he would even entertain that fight. Because he knew he could kill Jake Paul. That's it. If he lost that fight, brother, we did put, with how he talks, with how Tank talks about what failure can do to him, with how Tank talks about what failure would do to him, we might have to put that brother on 24-hour watch if he did indeed lose to the likes of Jake Paul. Because that's worse than losing against any of the people that we've been wanting him to fight against. That's worse than any of those other opponents that he would fight against if he lost to them. If he lost to Jake Paul, oh my gosh. Oh, that's despicable. That's horrible. He would never get respect again. He would be even more ridiculed than he would be if he lost to the likes of Tio. No, they wouldn't even be a contest. Oh, no, he ain't throwing that fight. If he lost, it would be because Jake Paul actually caught him. And he does have power, absolutely. But he's one-dimensional. So Jake Paul, so it's like, that ain't happening. We just don't want the fight to happen because we know it will be an easy fight. We know Tank would win. And we know even with that weight discrepancy, Jake Paul has no gas tank, no stamina. And yes, he got power, but here's the thing. He doesn't got speed. He definitely ain't got great footwork. He gets laden into traps. If anybody could actually set a trap, but nobody he's faced off against can really set that level of boxing trap to him. Because it's not that good. Yes or not? Tank doesn't need, let's see, Business and Groovy, Tank doesn't need to fight Jake Paul for any other reason than money. Paul is not a serious boxer. Yeah, see, that's the thing. And even then, Paul is a serious boxer because he's been training this for 5 years straight. He's legitimately gained talent. He can beat your average bum. He can. But I want him to fight somebody on his level, and he would never do it. I just look at Tank as a circus sideshow, not a legacy fighter. I completely understand it, Albert. Completely understand it, absolutely. Because it's like Tank can be so much more. But it's a ride of disappointment every single time we watch that, buddy. Because it's like, I know you can be better. I know you can do better. I know you can go and chase better. But it's frustrating. Jay Will, when Tank beat Pedraza at 22, I thought he was going to take over for years to come. And again, he should have. He should have. He should have. That's the issue. He should have. But again, he himself did not want to take those opportunities after he got under the wing of Floyd Mayweather. Again, we covered the timeline of everything with Floyd and Tank going into Tank, leaving Floyd and becoming his own man. We covered that before on the show like months ago. I think it was even last year. Like, we went through that whole situation, broke it down as intricately as we could as to how when Tank got control of his own career, of his own legacy, when he didn't need Floyd controlling where he did or did not go, who he did or did not fight, he could have been something. But it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Let's see. Albert, will it be an exhibition or will it be a real title fight? Like all, it would have been an exhibition. It would have been an exhibition. It would have been an exhibition. But reality is, if he had lost, it would have been a loss. Like it wouldn't have mattered. Because if he had lost that fight, we were all going to say, yo, you lost that fight. Tyson versus Jones was an exhibition. And we all say Tyson beat Jones when that fight happened. There's been a couple of exhibition fights that Jake Paul has had that he won. And that are like, yeah, you won. And so it would have been an exhibition. Probably because it's an actual talented fighter. It would have been an exhibition. Per Jake Paul's own words. Because if discounted for that record and he lost, it would be hard. Yeah, Jake got hard footwork. Yes, he does have hard footwork. Kendall might be moving funny, but he has put way more work than Tinkerbell could ever get. Like, also, Dry Turkey, what's good with you? How you doing? Glad that you're Albert Real. Also good with you. How you doing? Glad that you're here. Absolutely. Canelo put in so much dominant work, genuinely. Like, so serious. Canelo has put in a league's amount of work for his career, unquestionably. Even though of recent, like you said, it's been a problem, absolutely. But it has been a situation where you can at least fall back on the notion that, okay, what he's doing right now, we don't like, outside of what Crawford. Even with Crawford, some people don't like that fight. But regardless of which, outside of Benavidez, who he hasn't fought in his recent string of fights, excluding the Crawford fight, he's been doing work for the majority of his whole career. That's why we have our complaints. But we never question the legacy. We never question where Canelo's standing is in boxing. Because what he did can't be undone. That's the issue. With Tank, you don't even have a legacy that we can look to and say, yeah, this is what you are. In a vein of, it's better. That is the problem. There is no legacy with Tank that we can fall back on and say, yes, this is that we can hang our hat on. There's no legacy with Tank that we can look to and say, yes, this is the man that I know. This is who he really is. In the standpoint of, he might be moving interesting now, but we know what Tank has submitted himself in stone as. Tank at this point in time has not submitted himself in stone. At 30 plus years old, he is still moving like a prospect in the sport. That cannot slide. We have to be real. That can't slide. There is no legacy. There is no career. There is no means of actual legitimate levels of talent and greatness that we can let that slide when you are 30 years old and we're still waiting on you to face off against names that were around your same age when you were 27 years old, and there's 6 of them. Shakur came in and is about to get out of your division, and we're still waiting on you to fight him. Keyshawn Davis has been a star in this division for upwards of 2 years, and we're still waiting on you to fight him. I don't understand what the holdup is, unless it is that you just don't want to try your hand at what greatness can be. That is the issue. That is the problem. That is the circumstance that really frustrates me when it comes to Tank Davis. There is so much greatness in this man that he can tap into. But because he won't do it of his own volition, of his own accord, of his own willingness not to try, it's nothing but failure. It's just nothing but failure. And I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Also, jokes, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're tuning in. But I will have to say, rhetoric like that, we can't stand on this channel. We love you. We respect you. Happy that you're here, absolutely. But black fatigue and all that stuff, we can't rock with that. We don't do that here. We can't. We don't. Again, we don't. We don't do that here. As we've said before, for other users on the channel. I'm so glad that you're here. Absolutely. We appreciate your time being here. Love it. Absolutely. But we can't rhetoric like that, verbiage like that, words like that, racial rhetoric, we can't do. Especially if it's terms like that. We can't do that. I got to put my foot down. We can't stand for that objectively. So we, again, respect that you're here. Absolutely. But please, we can't have that here on this channel. But let me see. Albert Real, Jake really needs someone like Morrell or Benavidez. And if Jake wants to be a real champion, he has to beat Bebo. Again, he would never fight them. Albert Real, if you didn't know, and again, this will be the last thing about Jake before we move on, because we got some other stuff we got to cover on the show. This will be the last thing about Jake. Albert Real, you have to also understand, Jake Paul, after he beat Mike Tyson, was offered 2 title shots. I'm not being funny. He was offered 2 title shots by Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol for both of their titles. This was after Dubois. Not Bivol. I'm sorry. He was offered 2 title shots by Daniel Dubois and Artur Beterbiev after he beat Mike Tyson, which was a sham of a fight. Tyson was too old to do anything. He had a head movement, but didn't have any feet, and couldn't close the distance on the likes of Jake Paul. If it was a Tyson that was fighting in 2020 against Roy Jones Jr., that Tyson would have beat Jake Paul. This Tyson, he was too far gone. But when Jake Paul was offered 2 title opportunities by Artur Beterbiev and Daniel Dubois through DMs twice. Jake Paul even showed it. You can even go back and look up Dubois challenging Jake Paul for his IBF title. Artur Beterbiev, you can go on Twitter and you can find his tweet saying, "Hey Jake, come fight for my title. Let's see what you can do." And he didn't take it. He's never going to fight a real contender. He's only going to fight people that he feels he can objectively beat because he is too big for them he is too big for that fight to fail, or he is too young for them to actually succeed. That's the only way he would ever fight him. Or unless you're Canelo, who is the biggest cash cow in all of boxing, and you will lose, but you will make a massive payday for it. That's the only way it would happen. But that it speaks to the real scumminess of what Jake Paul is as a fighter. That frustrates me to no end. And it is a consistent problem that makes us all look at this man in a level of ire and disdain that I just cannot stand. I'll be real. I can't stand it for life of me. For the life of me, I cannot stand it in the slightest. But again, that's the last thing about Jake Paul for this show, because I just wanted to touch on it, went into a tangent. It was great conversation, absolutely. However, still, we have to move on. We do have to move on. And so let me see. I remember when Art offered him, but Jake didn't respond to it. Like I said, I told you his MO a year ago. What this man wants to do: hate train, keep on fighting bums, make a disgrace of the idols of boxing, get a payday with Canelo, and then bounce. He's fighting Julio Cesar Chavez because he's the son of Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. And he's doing that because, I beat the son of a legend. Now, I'm attached to Julio Cesar Chavez. I can now start disrespecting Julio Cesar Chavez because I beat his offspring. I would have beat him too. Then you get Canelo mad. Canelo comes out and says, "Okay, you want to fight? Let's fight." Canelo beats him. Jake Paul gets knocked out, but he walks away clean and walks away, or not walks away clean. He's going to get put out on a stretcher, but he walks away, gets his money, retires, doesn't have to fight again because now he conquered the sport because he ultimately won because he got what he wanted. That's how it's going to be. I hate it. I truly do. But that's what's going to happen. I am assured that is exactly what's going to transpire. And I can't stand it. I despise it. I hate it with my heart and soul. It is a disgrace. under disgrace, but it is the nature of what this whole sport, when it revolves around Jake Paul, of what he is doing. This is the game. This is the game. As much we can hate it all we want, and if you want to make it stop, don't support it. But this is the game. Sadly, this is the game that we're all relegated to, and it's hard. It's just terrible. But again, we still got more to cover on the show. Like with another topic of discussion we have. Here we go. See, yep. See, you took the words right out of my mouth. Pacquiao. Yes, indeed. We got to talk about it. And see, I finally got it to work. And the update finally took place. And so now we back in business with the chats. So I appreciate it. Took me some time. Took a minute for the update to do. But now we back in business, baby. And yes, sir. Also, Dry Turkey. How you doing? Good to see you. Hey, brother. Glad you're back. Oh, you stepped in right on time. We finally got the chat working. We can bring everybody's chats up now. The update finished for the chat bot to finally get back to where it's supposed to be. We all in good standing. Yes, sir. We back rocking and rolling. And we got to talk about another buddy who's back rocking and rolling, which is the incomparable, the all-time great, the menace to society that was beloved by the world. Manny Pacquiao is making his return this July against the likes of Mario Barrios for the WBC welterweight title in a fight that will be. But if he pulls this off, woo! If he pulls this off, Pacquiao, you right, Pacquiao, 8-division champion, won 4 titles in 4 different decades. He's beaten past, present, and future contenders that would boggle the minds of many. We can't. Started at less than 100 pounds. Had to wear a weighted underwear to be able to make weight for it when he first got into the sport. And early on got knocked out, and then went on to become one of the most dominant, fan-friendly, outright all-time great fighters that this sport has seen. Has ended the career of Oscar De La Hoya, win against the likes of Miguel Cotto, beat Ricky Hatton, beat Margarito, beat countless levels of champions. Won Manuel Marquez 3 times in what was an absolute barn burner of a great quadruple type of fight. Yeah. 8 divisions, that's the record. Nobody in boxing history has won a title in 8 different divisions. Multiple time fighter of the year, was fighter of the decade. I think once, if not twice, because of the accomplishments that he had been able to do. 62 and 8? Should be 63 and 7 because of that robbery of a fight that he got taken away from Jeff Horn, which was a disgrace. Which we would have gotten Pacquiao versus Terrence Crawford if Jeff Horn had actually lost that fight like he should have when he got beat the Kingdom Come pillar to the post. Fighting like a dirty bum. Can't stand that, but I can't stand that, but I remember where I was when I watched that fight. Still, irks me to this day. Hurts me to my core that he lost the title that way. And we got robbed of Pacquiao versus Crawford because of a stupid, ignorant, corrupt decision in Australia. Hurt me to my soul. But that's a whole other conversation. But either way, he's back against Mario Barrios. Now we got some concerns. Can he turn back the hands of time against Barrios and truly do what we think is almost impossible, which is win another championship against a still relatively in their prime, a very dangerous puncher, 6 feet tall, in Mario Barrios? Yes, we saw Tank do it. And we know what Pacquiao would be able to do with Barrios in the past. Pacquiao would have beaten Barrios, and Pacquiao would have knocked out Barrios if it was Pacquiao in his prime. No question about it. But now, it's a whole slew of concerns. Is age going to be too much? Do you think with all Pacquiao accomplishments, he should be allowed to move to 5th in the rankings and get a title shot? Or do you think the whole thing is a disgrace to the sport, like some say? So, Pacquiao hasn't fought in, 6 years, just about? His last fight was in 2021. I remember because that's when I was in college. And I remember I watched that fight in my room by myself. Because I was scared that if he had lost that fight, this might be it. And sure enough, it was it. And so, him skipping the line It's not right. Let's be frank. Him skipping the line, it's not right. It's not right. I'm not ashamed to say it. It's not right at all. It's not right at all. That he skips the line and we don't get, Boots versus Barrios. Though again, Boots is still already a unified champion. He's going after Undisputed, absolutely. But still, I'm surprised that it wasn't him getting the shot next. Because that would be the easiest belt for Boots to get if he wants to actually go and, do this thing. But regardless of which, Pacquiao skipping the likes of Brian Norman Jr. Pacquiao skipping the like. In fact, let me look at the rankings real quick so I can paint a better picture of who exactly is in front of Pacquiao for who should be fighting for belts right now, or at least fighting for Barrios' belt, objectively, because Pacquiao getting this level of essentially favoritism due to his legendary status. It's not right. It isn't. I get why it's happening, but it's not right. Imagine, because you gotta put this into perspective. It ain't right, but we shouldn't be surprised. Because think about it. If Floyd Mayweather came back and said, I'm coming back to boxing, not exhibitions. I'm coming back to the pro ranks. And I'm going for the welterweight title. And he got a shot immediately. Like, it would still be wrong, but you would be like, well, it's Floyd. That's what we're looking at with Pacquiao right now. Pacquiao is somebody who, because of his name alone, he's able to get opportunities. And mind you, he's getting these opportunities over Brian Norman Jr. He's getting them over Stanley. Stanley just lost the fight, understandable. But Rocha, Gyabzov, now, also understandable. Of the top 10 rankings at 147, at least per the Transatlantic Boxing ranking board, or the TBRB website, which again, strongly advise you to use. Very good at giving you a very well-rounded description of who should actually be in what rankings. And for pound, none of those names outside of, again, a couple are indeed noteworthy. Ennis, Barrios, Norman, Stanionis. Maybe Ramos because he just fought against Barrios in his last outing. That's about it. Most of the names aren't really up on the totem pole, though they are top 10 ranked. They should get shots over Pacquiao. But because Pacquiao is that big of a name, and he's like, yeah, I want to go and compete. Well, you get why they were given the opportunity. You get why you also got to understand, we are talking about belt commissions here who have consistently been given favoritism to other boxers. We did it with Canelo. They Canelo, the biggest stipulation of it. Tyson Fury, when we wanted Usyk, never forced him to fight him. Canelo versus Benavidez, WBC never forced to fight the likes of Benavidez, though Benavidez was Canelo's mandatory. And Benavidez went to the commission and say, hey, make this fight the mandatory because I've been here for 3 years. I want my shot. And they said they would do it, and then he ultimately didn't do it until he was about to move up. And he was like, yeah, no, I'm already on this road. I got to go. So we've seen favoritism before. And let's be honest, belt commissions want a big name fighter that will always bring revenue to have their belt because they will then get the backs of that payday. And if Pacquiao became a champion again with how beloved he already is as an old legend, oh my gosh, money would just flow in. Monetary value flowing. Gates, incredible. That could potentially lead to a Floyd Pacquiao rematch. Potentially, because all of a sudden, Pacquiao's back. Floyd, are you going to try to beat him again and take his belt? You've been talking you the greatest of all time. All of a sudden, this brother did something that you couldn't do. Beat a young, in their prime fighter got a belt again. Now, what can you do with them now? Like the storylines and the money that would come in off the backs of Pacquiao would be immense. They want that. Hence, yeah, sure, we'll let you come through. It's wrong, absolutely. Pacquiao tried to work his way up like the rest of them. We understand there would be some leeway given, some cutting, understandably, but still, you got to at least beat somebody in the top 10 if you want to say, okay, yeah, I beat somebody in the top 10. Now let me get my shot at a world title. Because I showed I'm in the mix. You at least got to show that you belong before you can get immediately a title shot. That's what you want. But that's not the reality of what we're living in. And so it's I can't call it a disgrace because we've seen it done before. It's wrong, absolutely. And I get why it's happening. But it's still wrong. It's still wrong. But that doesn't mean I don't want to see it. Which is this whole fight is a walking contradiction. This whole fight is a contradiction. We want people to get the opportunities. We want people to be successful. But we know Pacquiao doesn't deserve this shot. Yet still we want to see it happen. Because it's Pacquiao. So it's like, it's one of those things where we're going to accept the fact that we know this shouldn't be. But doggone it, we want it. So let's see it. Now, me personally, I think I'm scared it's going to end very badly. I'm really scared it's going to end really badly. But again, only time will tell. I'm in my nostalgia, as are a lot of people. I'm excited for Manny coming back. I can't help it. A lot of people are excited because they remember what Manny Pacquiao was. I think he was a once-in-a-lifetime talent. Greatest resume since the turn of the century. You ain't wrong. He's had a legacy laden with greatness. Absolutely. There are few in all of boxing history that have been able to match it. There's a reason why he's in that top 10 of all time. And so it's like same as with hold on, wait a minute. Same time as a huge Welch fan, I didn't want to see Manny go out like that. And so we really have to understand the concern with Pacquiao is where are your legs right now? Because let's be honest, the biggest thing about Pacquiao that made him successful, he could move with everybody and outmove everybody. His footwork and his ability to close the gap, still be explosive. The hand speed is always going to be there. Even with it being slower than what it used to be, it's always gonna, sorry, I just saw something outside my window. It's always going to be there. Yes. However, the thing about Pacquiao, his footwork helped make that hand speed so much more demoralizing. When we saw him last against Ugas, what happened? Didn't we see this brother have a problem? Because his legs gave out. He couldn't fight. He couldn't move. He couldn't use his explosiveness. He couldn't use the angles. He was throwing arm punches, but no leverage around him because he couldn't use his legs like he wanted to do. Similar to what we saw with Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. He couldn't move. He said it himself in a post-fight interview. Now, with years out of the ring, is that movement going to be even worse? Are those legs even more shot? Is he going to be even more stationary than ever before? And going up against somebody who was 6 feet tall in Mario Barrios, who's got incredibly long arms as well that clear your reach. If you don't have your legs in terms of Pacquiao, I don't know how you're going to be able to outmaneuver and close the gap on the distance that Barrios is going to be able to have on you strictly by proxy of physical attributes alone. And without your legs, are you going to be a sitting duck for Barrios to be able to tee off on? That's where the concern comes into play. That's where it's really scary. Now, we did see there's a way to beat him. There's a way to beat Barrios. If you're a short fighter, Tank did it. Lead with the straight power hand, especially as a southpaw, you can catch him and hurt him. Instead of leading with your jab, lead with your straight punch. And you can catch Barrios coming in. You can. Even if you're walking him down. Barrios ain't got great head movement. Barrios is a warrior. Barrios is a guy who will sit in the pocket with you. He'll go into a war like he did against Ramos. And he got knocked down for it. You can catch him and count him. He's not a great defensive fighter. Offense was what drives his ability to be successful. However, we're still looking at Pacquiao and saying, if you can't close that distance to be able to land that straight left as a lead to your offense, then I don't know how you're going to be able to be successful. Because even Tank struggled against Barrios. Tank was in his prime. Even Tank, with all the IQ, struggled against Barrios for the first 6 rounds. Not just because he was trying to download information. He was getting caught. He was getting tagged. He was getting legitimately damaged by Barrios and that jab, which was leading to right straights that were landing as well. Pacquiao, without that same level of movement, I'm scared. Now, if he can turn back the clock, all of a sudden, the time out the ring has given him his legs back. We got another conversation. Hey, my gosh. We got a whole nother issue. Now, that's good. But I don't know if that's going to be the case. The main reason is because the last couple of exhibitions that Pacquiao has had, he has been getting tagged and hurt. Yes, he is fighting against bigger opponents. So it's not something he ain't used to. Yes, he's tried to be as active as he can with legitimate fights. They may be exhibitions, but he's treating them like it's an actual fight because they're getting cut, bruised up, beat, caught, knocked down. It's a brawl every time he gets into a fight. In terms of Pacquiao, he's putting himself at risk every single time. Go watch his most recent exhibition. It was a fight. That was a fight. There wasn't nothing exhibition about it. Wasn't nothing fake about that. He only knows one way, which is go to war. But in that war of recent against people that aren't great boxers or even boxers in the slightest, he's still getting caught. And so now coming back against the likes of Barrios, I'm really scared. I can't lie, I'm scared. Because now I learned my lesson from Tyson that age is not just a number. Age is a real reality. And it's like it's a real concerning thing. It's a real concerning thing. And so I want to see it happen, but shoot, I just don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. And so I'm just like, ooh, if he pulls this off, it'll be one of the most impressive things I've seen in the history of the sport. If he pulls this off, it'll be, especially after we saw, like, yeah, he's done. This ain't even like George Foreman, who went after 15 years, took 20 plus fights to get back to the world title picture and getting back in shape and getting back into fighting rhythm against tomato cans. It wasn't like that. This was jumping in the deep end, first fight out. The last fight he was in, he lost his world title. The first fight, he's back. He's fighting for a world title. If he pulls this off, that'll be one of the most impressive things I've seen in boxing history. I can't lie. I can't lie. I can't lie. And if anybody, and this is not disrespectful to Floyd Mayweather, but this would further cement for me that you can argue that Floyd was a better fighter than Pacquiao, but you can't argue that Pacquiao isn't greater than Floyd if he pulls this off. If he does this, greatness, there's no comparison. You can argue talent. I have no problem with that. Floyd beat Pacquiao. Floyd was undefeated, though again he got some decisions that he really shouldn't have gotten. Like with Castillo, arguably like with Maidana. His 50th win wasn't even against a boxer, but against an MMA fighter. And Conor McGregor, it shouldn't have counted, but still, it counts. He could have fought Errol Spence Jr., but that's a whole other conversation. Could have fought Keith Thurman, but that's a whole other conversation. Could have fought Terrence Crawford. That's a whole other conversation, though. That's a whole other conversation. But I'm not arguing who's greater if he does this. Already, I think Pacquiao is greater than Floyd. Objectively, his career is greater than. His resume is better than. But in terms of, if he does this, nah, that'll be preposterous. That would be insane. Pacquiao's legs, I think, will look good for 5 rounds, but I'm worried that he'll become stationary after that. I don't even know if they'll be good for 2. I need to see him. Really, I need to see some video of this brother sparring. I really do. I wish I had this brother fighting a tomato can, at least 2, to get some level of, okay, where are you? Because right now, it's just it's ooh, it's concerning. Ooh, it's concerning. I there's so much that is just unknown because of the last time we saw Pacquiao in the most recent fights with Pacquiao within the last like 2 years. He hasn't looked like a fighter that I can really hang my hat on. That yeah, he can come back and ride his reign. Even with Welch, which I love. Absolutely love him. Love that tandem. One of the greatest boxing dudes that boxing has ever seen. Match made in heaven, absolutely. I don't know what he can pull out of his hat to be able to make Pacquiao turn back the clock. It's good. Pacquiao fought 2021 in August. So we're talking 4 years. Leonard was younger when he beat Hagler off of 3 years of activity or 3 years inactivity. That's true. But also, actually, hold on, let me, hold on, wait. Before I say that, and again, we're about to go into championship rounds. And I believe after this segment, let me make sure we ain't got nothing else to talk about on this show. Did that? Yeah. Okay, yeah. We're about to go into championship rounds after this segment. But before I give my rebuttal to that, let me make sure. Let me make sure that I got that correct with him and his career. Sugar Leonard, 36-3. Last fight, lost to Hector Macho Camacho. In his last fight, lost to Terry Norris before that. He beat Duran at 160. Had a draw with Tommy Hurst in the rematch. Yep. Okay. You're right. Beat Kevin Howard. Then 3-year layoff. Then beat Hagler. You're right. But the issue also is when Hagler fought Leonard, Leonard also wasn't almost 50 years old. When Leonard retired, or when Leonard had the 3 years of inactivity the first time, Leonard was, let me see, Leonard versus Hagler age. Yeah. Leonard was 30 years old. We also got to remember that. Leonard in that layoff, I believe he was. Let me make sure. Yeah. Leonard was 30. Hagler was 32. Leonard was 30 years old off of a 3-year layoff. Leonard was still in his prime. Leonard, physically, Leonard was still in his prime when he fought against the legs of Hurst. Like he was inactive at 27. He came back at 30. Tank is 30 now. In a way, he's 31 now. Hagler was, mind you, Hagler was 32 and had 62 fights at that point. Which is ridiculous. This fight was Hagler's last fight. This fight was Leonard's first fight in 3 years. And Marvin Hagler was 32. And Hagler was 62-2 at the time of this fight with 52 KOs. He shouldn't have lost this fight, if I'm being completely honest. I thought Hagler won this fight. Genuinely, I thought Ray Leonard lost this. But it speaks to the greatness of Sugar Ray Leonard to be able to put on this type of performance against the likes of Marvin Hagler, who retired at 32 years old after having 62 fights, which again is preposterous. But regardless of which, if Pacquiao was coming back at 30, who is he not beating at 147? Outside of maybe Boots, who is he not beating? If Pacquiao's coming back at 30, shit, we talking about this brother fighting at potentially 154. Oh, forget, if Pacquiao came back at 130, everybody would be gunning for that brother, and everybody would be going down to that brother. Tio, he's losing. Devin, he's not getting knocked out. Ryan, he's getting knocked out. Everybody's getting Rolly knocked out. You name it, they're going to sleep. If it's a prime Pacquiao, oh my gosh, we're not even having a conversation. If it's a 30-year-old Pacquiao against Barrios, my goodness, that's like, at that point, we're saying, hey, Floyd, where you at? If it was a 30-year-old Pacquiao, that's the difference with this fight. Leonard coming back at 30. It's not Pacquiao coming back at 46. It's not a Pacquiao with 62 fights already under his belt, retiring at 40 and then coming back. It's a different animal. That's why this ain't that. I can tell you that. I can say that right now. This ain't that. This ain't that in the slightest. Both are impressive. Let's not get it twisted. Both are incredibly impressive. I am not demeaning Leonard in the slightest. Never. Absolutely never. I just also understand that those circumstances are not these circumstances. If Sugar Ray Leonard came back at 46 years old off of a 3+ year layoff and beat Hearns, oh my gosh, that's even greater than some of the greatest feats we've seen in the modern day in boxing. That's coming up from again lightweight to middleweight to beating Hearns at 46. If we're gonna make this a 1-to-1 comparison, but that's preposterous. That's insane. That almost doesn't sound real. Yet that's what would have happened. And so it's ridiculous. So yeah, that's why I say this is a different type of situation when looking at the likes of Pacquiao versus Barrios. And so yeah, so Hagler was way better than Barrios. So I tried to make up for the we can't make up for that. But let me see, Hopkins, Foreman, Holmes all won big fights in their 40s, but they were more active than Pac-Man has been. That's the thing. Pac-Man has been out the ring for almost 6 years of legitimate, consistent, competitive makeup. This is where the issue comes into play. The legitimate inactivity and the age are all problems. Hopkins won a championship at 49, Foreman came back at 30s, 38? Spent a good, I think maybe older than that, spent a good couple years just fighting anybody and everybody, getting his way back up. This was a multi-year build-up to the fight that he finally got against Michael Moore. Yes, he fought against Tommy Hearns and Evander Holyfield, but that was a multi-year build-up to ultimately getting back to winning the title against the likes of Michael Moore. This ain't that. This is a one-stop. I'm back. We in here now. Let's see what you can do. If he does this, again, that's why I say it'd be so impressive. Pacquiao didn't look good in the exhibition last year. I forgot about that. I thought the kid Boxer actually beat him 2-1. You see what I'm saying? I brought that up. That's exactly what I'm saying. This is the problem. If Pacquiao can make himself look actually great, okay, it's a testament to him. But at some point in time, Father Time comes for us all. And we can't do but so much. And because of that, we got a dilemma. We got a problem. And we can't overlook it. And we have to be real about it. There's a danger for Pacquiao. He could potentially get knocked out and hurt bad. He could potentially get knocked out bad. He could potentially, I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. And if he wins, also, let's not forget, we keep talking about why we think he's going to lose. Brother, what if he wins? Hold on, wait a minute. What if he wins? Dare I say, this man wins this fight. Full stop. We see Pacquiao win this fight. Brother, look who he's got to face against next. He's got to face either Rolly Romero, because remember Rolly Romero's he's the mandatory for Boots' title. Excuse me, doesn't have to face Rolly. He would then, if he wants to keep this contending status going, have to fight either Stanionis or Boots Ennis. he would have to fight either Stanionis or Boots Ennis as the fight. And I'm thinking, my word, great day in the morning. I'm like, shoot. And then what you say potentially you have to fight Tank. He might fight Tank. He might. Would Tank even go up that far if Pacquiao did win? I don't know. I truly don't know. And if he did that, that would just be a worse look for the likes of Tank. Because just like with, again, Jake Paul, we'll be saying, okay, now you want to move up to fight people that you feel you can beat. But when it's people that we know are actually competitive on your level, you don't want any part of. Where's the consistency? You see, it's really for Tank, and I don't want to keep going back to Tank, but we have to. It's a lose-lose situation. If Tank moves up to 147, where Conor Benn is at, where Jaron Ennis is at, to try to break his way through to get a shot at Pacquiao, but then won't fight Tio and the others at 140 or Shakur at 135, this will further be a problem that we hold against Tank, because now you're doing exactly what we thought you were doing your entire career. You only want the fights that are easiest for you, and then you move out the way and won't take on any actual competitive challenges that are at their prime in your face right in front of you. Yes, you would beat Pacquiao almost assuredly if Tank fought against Pacquiao. But at this stage, in their prime, Pacquiao beats Tank. But regardless of which, that would be bad. You can't lie that the very issue that we're talking about now with Tank would again come up with Tank. If we saw that happen with him not fighting the people that we want to see him fight, but then going and cherry picking the people that he knows he can beat that would be big paydays for big time fights, it's a problem. It would be another problem. We can't, it would be something that would be held against him. Can't lie. And so the PBC set it up, they probably would. But I guarantee you, it would not help Tank's legacy in the way that you may think. It wouldn't help his legacy in the way that you may think. Because it's not just about the name value. Tank for a 46-year-old, he might. And it's like, and then at that point, if he moves back down, if he drops the belt, if he beat Pacquiao and then drop the belt, well, then what? Like, are you going to defend it? Are you going to stay around? Are you going to fight Boots? Are you going to fight Tio then? If you're going to move up that far? Are you going to fight all the names that you said you wouldn't fight then? If you do, in fact, go and do this, it's Jay Will, you said it best. It feels like a Tank move. It is a Tank move. It's a move that we can't stand. We don't like. We wish it wasn't happening. But my gosh, if it did happen, we are all understanding that this is the reality of what we are, where we are with Tank as a fighter. This is what we can expect to see. I don't like it. You don't like it. A bunch of people don't like it. I completely understand. But this is the new nature of the beast that is Tank Davis. This is the reality of if we would have to hold it against him. We could not let it, we can't, should not, and could not let that slide. Impossible. We trust and believe. I will never, you can bet your bottom dollar, I won't let that slide. And it's like, I will not let that slide at all if we actually see that take place. I promise you that. Oh, I promise you. I can wholeheartedly assure you of that. But again, I think now we got everything else covered. So since we got all said and done, we can now do what we do best, which is go into the championship rounds. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to work, it's time to shine, it's time to be sublime and make the show your own. That's right, let's get it going. Championship round, we got 30 minutes, maybe 15, 30 minutes. Make the show your own. whatever you want to discuss and ask questions about, whether it's Devin Haney, whether it's Tank, whether it's Tia, whether it's Tyson Fury making his comeback. We can talk about OKC and how they went and beat the Timberwolves in game one, which will look to be potentially a very dominant series that right now they look like they're in complete control of. The OT thriller that was the Knicks versus the Pacers. If you want to talk about that and how the Knicks, they look. If they lose game two, brother, we might have ourselves a very concerning predicament for the landscape of the boxing public, and more specifically for the landscape, or not boxing public, excuse me, for the landscape of basketball for the Knicks. If they ever look to try to make it out, they got it. They with a more demoralizing loss like that. All that and more we can discuss right now on the show. Whatever you want to talk about, we can have it out. So hey, make the show your own. Leave a like on the stream if you're still here. Again, we got 30 minutes to an hour. Do what you do best. Leave your comments, leave your thoughts, leave your debates, your questions, your opinions, and we can talk about it right here. Let's see what you all have to say on the show right now. Hold on, give me 1 second. Hold on, I'm pulling up the chat. Hold on, I'm coming. We're here. Don't leave. We're still doing what we do best. Just trying to get the thing back up and running. Getting the thing back up and running. Coach owner Jim Irsay did die, sadly. Coach owner was able to foster that team, getting into a championship at 65. Was one of the biggest advocates for getting Dan Snyder out of the NFL, who was one of the most despicable, horrid, just demoralizing humans that the NFL had to offer as an owner. Utterly despicable what he did for that franchise, and on the whole, what he did and as a person. So he's been behind the scenes of a lot of stuff with the NFL, but now, sadly, he will be missed. Absolutely. Let's see, NBA players took a poll and said that Halliburton was the most overrated. How does that look now? Now that looks very much like that is wrong. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that right now. Everything about that look, Halliburton at this point, look, Halliburton's is shutting a lot of people up. Halliburton is shutting a lot of people up when it comes to what we're seeing from him and how he's been able to be like a menace. This whole time in the NBA, Halliburton has been leading the squad to the best offense in basketball. Run and gun, fast break all the time. There is no question that he's been the guy running the show for why this team has been oh so successful, has been indeed a dominant force in the basketball landscape, because this man has been the driving force for why this team was able to have put 40 on Cleveland put 80 on Cleveland by halftime, was able to go through and take this Knicks team to 130. For a Knicks squad that is normally in the mud when it comes to offensively. They are grit and grind versus pace and space. And right now, they make you play out of your element, out of your forte. They make you genuinely, they make you play out of your mind, out of your heart, out of your normal momentum. And it's all because of Halliburton and his court vision and the constant movement that the Patriots have at their disposal. And so this is where it gets really interesting, because now the Knicks having to play at this pace for potentially 7 games, Patriots can do this all day long. This has been them the entire season. The Knicks, this ain't them. Now, granted, Naismith went off for 30. Went for 5 straight threes, 8 of 9 on the night as a whole, and with the big reasons why they got to a comeback on top of Halliburton having 32, those shooting 4 for 12 from 3, hitting that game-winning 2 or game-tying 2 to send them into overtime. One of the most clutch shots that we've seen in recent memory, which again is insane. But we can't deny that this is like, yo. This team is pushing this squad to the brink. And they can potentially make, even with all the endless stamina that we see the Knicks have, but they can run them into the ground. They can run them into the ground with how they play. And it's all because Halliburton is that guy. We had Stephen A. earlier saying that he's a star, but he's not a superstar. Sure, he's not the most well-known name. But as a talent, he is one of the best guards in the game. He is a superstar. He may be on the lower tier of that stardom, but he's a superstar. He's the driving force. You can say what you want. This team is getting ready. This brother's getting ready to lead the squad to a finals performance, potentially. Finals appearance, potentially. As the main one-man show, from the standpoint of there is no other all-star or like dominant two. It's because that brother is making it do what it do. Making Obi Toppin look great. Naismith looking great. Nembhard looking great. Miles Turner. TJ McConnell. He's making all of that work. That offense doesn't run without him. It doesn't work without him. It doesn't beat Cleveland without him. So he may not be on the high end of superstars, but he is indeed a superstar, no question about it. But let me see what you have to say on the chat. Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Sure. Okay, here we go. Yep, we're good now. We good. We are A-okay. Okay, now I'm back. Okay, let's see. Let me see what you got to say. SGA could be the first player since Shaq 2000 win Finals MVP and scoring title all in the same season. I may not like Shea. I may not like his play style. But I can't deny that brother is he's been a fringe MVP for the past couple years. He is the MVP this season. In my estimation, no question. No question about it. Absolutely. He is the MVP this season. And because of that, because he's the MVP this season, though I believe Jokic should have won it this year, he's reached the level that we all thought he could reach to. It wasn't disrespect, though I thought that Jokic should have won. But he's got that team set up for years. And they are right now looking like the best team in the NBA. They are looking like, they're playing up to the level of the dominant contenders, the dominant young finals, legitimate force of nature that we all knew this team could be, which is good, which is great, which is phenomenal. I get foul better, don't like him. Though he's not as egregious as everybody may make him out to be. Again, still in the playoffs. Has had less of a whistle. I have to capitulate. I don't like the way he goes about getting the whistle. It's still a skill. The way that Wade would get fouled, the argument with him being a foul beater, as Turkey has eloquently said, there's a difference in why I don't like SGA and the way he gets fouls versus other players. Though, even with SGA getting fouled, the reality is it is not as egregious as we make it out to be. I'm being unbiased. I gotta be real. But the way he goes about doing it, I don't like, because it's similar to Trae Young, similar to James Harden, and not similar to the likes of a Kobe or a Dwayne Wade or a LeBron or a Shaq, as people like to put up with them getting to the line, having 23 free throws, Jokic having 23 free throws plus in a game or so. It's not the same way that they go about doing it. SGA is doing it in a similar fashion to Harden and Trae Young than Kobe or LeBron or D Wade or Shaq, because he's trying to bait the foul first, then then make the shot second, rather than getting through traffic, looking to make the shot first, and then getting fouled second. Yes, make the defense make a mistake, but then you trying to get the bucket, rather than just trying to bait the foul out of you first. Or you are getting hacked, and then you try to finish through the contact rather than trying to flail as egregiously as we see SGA do when he does get to the line. Again, he's not getting to the line as much as people make it out to be. Still is one of the higher ends in basketball, but it's not as much as people make it seem like. It's not a James Harden whistle. It's not. But akin to how James Harden was getting to the line, or Trae Young gets to the line, is a similar fashion to how we see SGA get to the line. And that style, I don't like. It is not like Kobe. It is not like Dwayne Wade. It's not even like Allen Iverson. So people trying to say y'all would have hated AI, y'all would have hated Kobe, y'all would have hated Dwayne Wade if they played today because they get fouled. or trying to use LeBron as a foul baiter. Now, it's not the same. It's not the same in the slightest. If you watch the game, it's not the same. Like I said, we're fans. We may not play the game, but we ain't stupid in what we see. We know what we're watching. What we're watching is a man who is going and trying to bait out fouls by doing excessive movements and not trying to get the bucket first. There's a difference in making the defense make a mistake and then you still, okay, yeah, they messed up. Now I'm going to finish through. Pump fake, get you to jump, and then, yeah, you messed up. Now, boom, we do what we do. It's more akin as Turkey said it best, in my eyes, it's more akin to a flopping-esque nature rather than just him, again, being crafty. Though it is crafty. Everybody can't do what SGA does. I get it. But it's just like I didn't like the way that Harden was going about getting fouls. Same thing for SGA. I don't like it. I just don't like the way that he does it. It's still a skill set. I'm not going to distract from the fact that everybody can't do what SGA does. They can't. It's an art form. James Harden mastered the rules of the game. Kobe did that same thing from the standpoint of understanding what he could and could not get away with. We don't ever disrespect Kobe for having that mentality. We understand this man was a killer and this man was trying to get every advantage possible. We praise that. And so we can't go and then look at everybody else and say, hey, that's bad from the standpoint of, oh, that's not basketball. No, it is basketball. Because the greats also did it in the past. But also there was a difference in how those greats did it and how SGA is doing it. And just like with Harden, it is a talent. It is a skill set. It is a elite type of ability to be able to get the whistle like SGA does. But it doesn't detract from the fact that it is not the same as the way we saw Kobe, Bron, Wade, Iverson, and others get calls and get to the line consistently, or even a Jokic now, a LeBron now, or in his prime. It's not the same. There is a difference. There is a difference that if you watch it, you can see, yeah, it's a skill, absolutely. But it's also a problem. This is what made the rules change for James Harden. Let's be real. People making arguments that, oh, SGA is not actually getting fouled as much as you may think, which, again, is valid. It is still a problem. And the way he's going about doing it is going to get the same effect that James Harden got. Rules will be changed. Stuff is going to be different. The same level of attack in a couple of years is not going to work. Especially now with this new framework of physicality that we've seen all throughout the playoffs, which we love. As the landscape of the league is changing and reverting back to a semblance of physical nature that defenses can take, especially now in the playoffs. And throughout the season, it's been like that more often, which absolutely we love it. This is going to lead to more and more changes get made to the rules. And with people like SGA getting this much of a complaint and fans also complaining about that too, as well as players, yeah, expect something in the near future to make it so that this same style of SGA plays won't be as conducive as it's been this season. Well, he'll still be successful, absolutely. But just like with Harden got nerfed because the way he was taking advantage of the rules made it so that it was bad for the game in the eyes of a lot of people. With SGA, same rhetoric, similar conversation to James Harden, we can expect a similar outcome that we saw James Harden get when he inevitably had the rules changed to stop what he was doing, which made the game for a lot of people unwatchable. But let me see what other people have to say. I don't want to take too much time. Talk about Halliburton, talk about SGA. What do you think about NFL keeping the tush push? NFL keeping the tush push? I'm okay with it. I'm genuinely okay with it. The touch push, or essentially that scrum at the 1 yard line, has been one of the biggest foundation points of football. Now, some people argue that it's more of a rugby play, but we can't deny. Go back to the 20s. Shoot, when the sport was first done, when it was nothing but 3 yards in a cloud of dust, yeah, it was nothing but knockdown, drag out, barbaric type of hits, absolutely. But also, it was man on man, hat on hat. We're gonna push through and we're gonna drag our way to the end zone. All hands on deck. Their formation specifically built just to go and push the line back and force the running back through. That play is a foundational piece in football. Other teams have had success with it. You can make an argument that the running back pushing the quarterback forward is not supposed to be applicable. You can make an argument for that. But the play itself, you can't take out the game. Because that's literally the epitome of football. And that would take away from a legitimate standpoint of what football is supposed to be. And then if you take that away, then you can potentially take away the QB sneak, which can be a whole nother problem. It's a bad cycle that can lead to a big issue. It's only coming a problem 3 years ago because we've had the likes of the Eagles do it the best. Let's not forget other teams like Josh Allen also got one of the biggest gargantuan QBs in the league right now. And they've had major success running a similar type of play. May not be as good as the Eagles because their front line is incredible, but it's still successful. It's still successful. And so it can't just be that because of one team's uber success, other people can't do it. Other teams can do that same thing. And to take that away would be taking away a foundational point in football, in my estimation. Humbling. And this is one of those situations where it's like, we're going to talk about it now. People are going to have problems with it now. But in the future, once we see people like, hold on, something. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to lick my lips in front of the camera. I don't want to discuss y'all. I felt like hair or something was in my mouth. I don't know what that was. But regardless of which, you take that away, you take away a big part of what football is, which is man on man. Stop me if you can. If you want to make a change to it, implement tweaks to what that play can be. But don't take away the play itself, because if you do that, I mean, like it don't work. And so I'm glad that it's in play. Because in a couple of years, we probably won't be having this conversation. Because I guarantee you, with Jason Kelce gone from the Eagles, though, yeah, they won the title. But in a couple of years, as dynasties rise and fall, teams change and move, people retire and new people come in, it's not going to be as much of a problem as you may think. I truly don't think it's going to be as big of a problem as people may be making it out to be. But again, just my humble opinion on it all. Caruso was locking up, and Caruso was. Absolutely he was. And ironically enough, Julius Randle was the best player in that game for the Timberwolves on that night, or at least one of the biggest players for that game. Of recently, he's been having an incredible series for the Timberwolves. But that defense of Caruso, Dort, though he's a dirty player from what I've seen, Holgram, SGA, Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, brother, it's suffocating. It's dominating. They get on one to the drop of a hat. They will start you out defensively and then outrun you offensively. It's so hard to beat. It's so hard to stop. It's ridiculous, honestly. But it's why they got the best record in the NBA. Because that collective team is insane. The collective team is insane. Youth and talent all rolled up into one, and they can still get more. Don't forget, they can still get more. They can still trade up and get a high pick in the draft this year if they wanted to. They could potentially try to get Kevin Durant and put him on the team if they wanted to, and trade away some of their good pieces and get a great piece in return and still have enough to build off of in the future for years to come. They can win the title and get upgraded and still not lose a dime. It's insane. It's insane how this team is built. It is insane. Can we talk about BFCK? I need to learn more about it. It's the hold on. Can we talk about BKFC? I think the Bare Knuckle Fight Club. I think that's what that means. I need to learn more about it. It's the only camp I've heard of. And there's Austin Trout, and I don't know why bare knuckle boxing and BFCK are rivals, which is the perfect remedy for creating more fighters together. Now, granted, I don't know much about. Oh gosh, my computer's going awry. Hold on a minute. Hold on. There we go. Okay, yeah. I don't know much about BFK, though. Again, I'm familiar with some of the fighters, and I'm familiar with the sport as a whole. But on the whole, it's. I mean, that's like saying why isn't the PFL and the UFC, or that's it. Why isn't the PFL and the UFC working together? It's because the PFL and the UFC, they're rivals against each other. You would think more talent that the UFC and the PFL can have against each other, and Ngannou and John Jones could finally fight for a unified title. Potentially, it could happen. It could be a great proving ground for young stars. And then if one star becomes big in the PFL, another one in the UFC, you get mega events consistently, cross-promotional appeal. You would think it would be the case, but it's competition. It's exactly why the PBC, Top Rank, Golden Boy, and Matchroom don't work together for all these years because they're trying to be better than each other. That's why they ain't working together. You would think it would be a better thing to work together and make some cross-promotional stuff, but in all actuality, this is the moniker of business. I don't like it, but it's the truth. People want to keep to their own so they can have the ability to be sure to say I'm better than you, and this is the only market that needs to happen. This is the only market you need to care about. This is the only market that needs to be applicable to you as a fight fan. That's why they won't fight each other. That's why they won't work together. That's why you'll probably never see them work together. And it's a shame, sure, but that's business. Sadly, that's business. And so, but anything anybody else wants to say, we still got a bunch of stuff that we can talk about on this show. We're at, I think, the 2 hour, 29 minute mark. We've had a whole litany of people coming through talking about the world of sports. Any other questions you have about the world of boxing, about the world of basketball? Who do y'all think? I still want the Knicks to win the finals, but I'm scared that they might get beat by the Pacers if they get any more, because this might have been a really demoralizing loss for them, hypothetically. Unless they come back and rally in game 2, which I hope so. And Nembhard and Naismith doesn't have a doggone another 30-point explosion. Hey, we could see this team. We could see this series go back to 1-1. But I think this is a situation where it's a must-win game for the likes of the Knicks. But again, anything else you all want to discuss? I almost forgot. I almost forgot. Hold on. Wait a minute. I almost forgot to bring this up for you all. Wait a minute. Hold on. No, that ain't it. No, that ain't. Oh. No, not that. Not that. I ain't trying to bring that up. What is that? Shoot. Hold on. Let me bring it up. I almost forgot because this needs to be talked about. This needs to be discussed because this is something that is major. This is actually like legitimate. Guess who is hold on, wait a minute. Wait 1 second. Was Jimmy Butler trade a failure for Warriors with the way that they went out? No, it wasn't. Because they went from one of the worst teams in the league to the best team in the league with Jimmy Butler. They went, 27-5, 27-7 after the All-Star break when Jimmy Butler got there. They were so dominant that they were a dark horse to upset a lot of teams in the Western Conference. Curry got hurt and wasn't able to play in the series that they got knocked out in with the Warriors. So, yeah, good credit to the Wolves for winning, or credit to the Wolves for beating the Warriors. But still, Curry wasn't able to play. We also got to understand it. But the success that they had, it ain't bad. It ain't bad. It is not bad in the slightest. And it's a real, it's not a failure. It definitely ain't a failure. With what they were, at one point in time having the worst record in the Western Conference, one of the worst records in the NBA. Steph Curry looking drained because that buddy was having 50-point games and they were losing. And then all of a sudden he was having 9-point games and struggling because the weight of that offense, he can't carry it like he used to. Still a dominant player, but Kuminga wasn't playing great. Gary Payton wasn't playing great at all. Pajemski, whatever his name is, wasn't living up to his moniker of a young threat, it was looking bad. And all of a sudden, they played their way from out of the playoffs into a legitimate seed. Yeah, no, this wasn't a failure to me. They were on the brink of death, and all of a sudden they came back to life. This ain't a failure. Next season, with everybody fully healthy, now we're going to see what this team's really going to be about, which I'm excited to see. Absolutely. Where is your number one landing spot for Giannis next year? I got Giannis. I hate to say it, but it might be Dallas. It might be Dallas. Because Dallas may trade the number one pick and trade away Cooper Flagg to the Bucks and get Giannis instead. And they get a three-headed monster of Kyrie, AD, and Giannis all on the same floor. The defense wins championship moniker, they would have that in droves. And 2 dominant stars. 3 dominant stars. 2 defensive monsters and 3 offensive menaces. Couple that with what they already have as a roster with Gafford and with Lively, they could trade away one and keep the other. Trade away Gafford, keep Lively. Trade away Lively, keep Gafford. Maybe this first round pick and another one. Trade away what's his name? Tim Hardaway Jr. if he's still on the squad. Bucks are looking to get Giannis out. If Giannis is saying, really, I'm about to head out of here. If they want to lose Giannis for nothing, trade him for something. Yeah, I can see it happen. Either that or OKC. Like I said, every major star, OKC is a threat to get him. Every major star.
Hey, look at this. We got some problems
Every
here.
major star.
We got some problems here.
OKC is a threat to get him. Every single one. KD, OKC can grab him. Giannis, OKC can grab him. Shoot, OKC can trade away the house. Get the first round pick from Dallas if they wanted to. And still have enough for their future. Just because they can. It's insane. There is not one star that is safe from what OKC has to offer. OKC, all they have to do is pull the trigger and gives anybody an offer that they can't refuse. And next thing you know, they're one of the best built squads for decades, for a year, for at least 3 years to come. It's insane. So my second pick will be OKC. Third pick will be Warriors. Because I've been hearing that rumor for years. Fourth, it may be, who would that 14 be? Dallas, OKC, Golden State, and I can't think of that 14. I can't think of that fourth squad. I can't think of it. I don't know. I really don't know. But those are my top 3. And I think we go to. That would be crazy with Twin Towers like Duncan and Robinson. This would be even better than those Twin Towers. This would be the equivalent of Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon. That's what this would be like. This would be Boogie Cousins and Anthony Davis when both of them were healthy, but better. Oh my gosh, this would be a nightmare. It'd be a nightmare scenario for anybody in the league. With Kyrie as the leader of that team, my goodness, it would be. Sorry, I thought sorry, my bad. I'm hearing something through the house. My bad. Sorry about that. But no. It would be insane. It would absolutely be insane. But real quick, because I do need to show y'all this before we do in fact get out of here. I almost forgot to bring this up for a conversation. What is it that we almost forgot to recognize when it came back to the world of boxing? It's this right here. Guess who Canelo is training with, seemingly, to prepare for Terrence Crawford? And you'll never guess. You will never guess. My gosh.
Hey, look at this. We got some problems here. We got some problems here.
I forgot to bring this up before we ended off in the show. But guess who is training with Canelo right now, per Stephen Fulton himself, Juron Ennis, brother, like that's insane. That's ridiculous. I just saw this like I think today, and I going through tweets, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, hold on. I didn't expect this to be what was going on with Canelo trying to get ready, and so now we're at like, shoot, oh my gosh, if that's like, this brings a whole new dichotomy to what this fight can potentially be. Because now, if this is in fact true per Stephen Fulton. Also, yo, Fight Buzz, what's good with you? How you doing? Glad to see you here. Glad that you're back. Hello and welcome. I'm so happy that you tuning into the show. No question about it. We are indeed doing all the stuff possible to make this show as great as it can be. And we're happy that you're on. Wait, let me actually pull up the there we go. Just want to pull up the chat. Let me actually pull up the chat for you. But yeah, glad that you're here. Glad that you're back. You came in at the end of the show, but right now we're going through championship rounds. We've had a phenomenal show right now. For anybody who's listening, please leave a like on the stream if you haven't already, and keep on sharing the show as we're getting ready to get out of here. Because trust and believe, we got some great competition. But as I just said, guess who's training with Canelo to prepare for the likes of Terence Crawford? It's Boots Ennis. And my word, since that's happening, this makes a whole new different perspective on what that fight's going to be. Because now, haven't we all been saying that Boots Ennis is the closest thing that we would have to a talented fighter in Terence Crawford, both of them sharing some similarities. Again, when Crawford was at 147, Boots was the only other viable contender for Crawford to be able to face off against. And also, Boots can do a lot of similar things that Crawford can do. Now that Boots is training with Canelo, ooh, buddy, do you think this will actually help Canelo prepare for what Crawford can bring to the table? And I think, yeah. I really do think, yeah. I am like, this is some big news. Because this is the closest comparison you can get for this is legitimately the closest comparison you can have for Crawford, for a Crawford-like fighter in Boots Ennis that Canelo could use, who is also as close to a physical anomaly that you can expect to see from the likes of, if not even more potentially, of a physical specimen that we could see Crawford be when he gets in the ring at 168. This is interesting. Oh, yo, Bill Haney, what's good with you? Hey, brother, how you doing? We were just talking about you. How you doing, man? What's up? Glad that you see. Glad that you're here. Glad that you're coming through. We were just talking about you. Ironically enough, at the top of the show, you can go back with your hit list that you put out with the likes of who Devin Haney is going to face. But it's like, we again, you can go back to the start of the show to hear that whole thing, because, brother, we had a lot to say on that. But right now we're going into the championship rounds, but we are also discussing the likes of Canelo and who he is now training with per Stephen Fulton, which is Canelo. Yeah, let's see. Is this actually... Is this actually Bill? Well, actually, shoot, is this actually Bill Haney? I'm still trying to figure that out. Hey, Fight Buzz, brother, I'm trying to figure that out too. If it is, great. Love to see it. Glad that you're here. Send me a shout out. Hey, well, we're working to get some super chats up. So if we are working to get once we get them super chats, hey, with all that money that you made, if you want to help support a very good, quality, unbiased boxing and sports show that can help elevate but also properly critique your son and the whole of the boxing tandem, hey, invest in us once we get monetized. Absolutely. Oh, yes, indeed. It'll be we can get you on the show. We can have you doing interviews. We can do phenomenal. If you are the real one. If you're just a clone, well, hey, we enjoy your company regardless. And hey, we ain't got no problem with it. We ain't got no, who are we to say that you aren't the real one? All I know is now, we're just happy that you're here. If you are the real one, we're glad that you're here. If you're not, we're still glad. Oh, what's the word? I'm losing my train of thought. We don't disrespect anybody that comes through here. We love it all regardless. And if it's the real one, brother, I'm glad that you view me as a reliable source. No question about it. And I told y'all, we growing, we thriving. We're gonna be a real voice of reason for the sports world, and we're gonna make that money on the side. Oh yeah, we're gonna get that dough for this show, and we're gonna go across the world. We're gonna be going overseas. We're gonna be having we're gonna be having shows, live shows in the states, in other states, across countries. We're gonna be not a traveling circus. We're gonna be a traveling empire. That's what we're gonna be, and it's all thanks to you and your support, absolutely. But hey, Devin Haney versus T.O. Stay tuned. We gonna see. We will see if that does indeed take place. We gonna see. Now, honestly, we covered that earlier in the show. I don't know if Devin Haney can beat T.O. based on what we saw in the last performance and based on what T.O. is right now. I'm not saying it's gonna be set in stone, but there are some concerns. I can't lie. If you want to hear what those concerns were, go listen to the top of the show. Because that was one of the first things that we touched on. That and the whole list of Boots Ennis, Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Keyshawn Davis, the whole lot of them. We went through all of them, absolutely. And so, but let me see, Bill Haney versus Oscar De La Hoya. Let's make it happen. Hey, look, brother. Hey, look, Bill. Like I said previously, if you're gonna fight, don't go to the body, because you might break your hand. Because them silicone abs that that Oscar De La Hoya got, brother, he's essentially got that Bret Hart steel plate in his chest. So don't go downstairs, because you don't fight like you did against Loma, because brother, you gonna break your hand, because them things is rock solid, literally, because they are solidified synthetic silicone right now. That brother got the Drake treatment on his abdomen, so I wouldn't be surprised if he came back into boxing, even at this age, brother. He might actually be able to have some success, because there's one part of the body that just you can't hit. You'll only be able to do headshots because he's got essentially reinforced armor on the body. Ain't no liver shot gonna take him out. I promise you that. And so, oh Lord, it's so interesting. But again, I do want to touch on it because I want to get your thoughts on it. As per with Stephen Fulton, John Ennis is training with Canelo right now in preparation for the fight with Terrence Crawford. Per Stephen. You can go look at the whole thread. Stephen said he's on the phone with him. He's talking to him right now. Tweet blew up. To understand what within the boxing community. Now if that is indeed true, what do you all feel that's gonna do for this fight as a whole? Genuine. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you all feel this fight, this training partner and Boots Ennis is gonna do for Crawford or for Canelo? And does this new development change your opinion on what this fight will potentially be come September 13th? Because now, if this is the case, there's a real interesting sect of conversation that if Boots Ennis can replicate what Crawford can do, potentially at the same, if not even more athletic, varied standpoint, Crawford may be in more trouble than we think. Because I'm not saying that Boots is the same type of fighter as John Ennis. I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that Crawford is the same fighter as Ennis. I'm not saying that Ennis is as smart as the likes of Terrence Crawford. No, would never disrespect Crawford at all in that vein. But also I understand that if anybody could be able to make a simulation of what it would be like to face off against Crawford, it would be Ennis. And this makes for a real concerning aspect for Terrence Crawford, because now I didn't think there was going to be somebody that Crawford would be able to train with that could give a real semblance of what, I didn't think there was a man that Canelo could train with that could give a real semblance of what Crawford would be like in the ring for Canelo. Now that this is the case, Canelo may be in trouble. Crawford genuinely may be in trouble. Because if Canelo figures out Boots, if Canelo can figure out what to do with Boots being as close of a simulation, and in terms of actual substance, it can be valid, Crawford may not have as many tricks of the trade that he can potentially on earth. Not saying that he still isn't a sublime fighter. But I also don't know who Crawford can train with to get that same level of experience with Canelo. I don't. At least thinking off the top of my head. It definitely ain't Munguia. Definitely ain't Berlanga. It's nobody at 147. Definitely nobody at 154 that I can think of that can give as close to replicable type of partner. So I'm thinking, hey, it's a mighty interesting development that makes Canelo real. This may skew my opinion for this fight now. This is going to be a big. This right here is going to be a big factor in what I feel this fight's going to be as we draw closer and closer. I can't lie, personally. Because of who we know Boots is, and what I know Boots can also, to some degree, replicate. That we didn't think Crawford would have anybody to be able to do some of the similar things that we know Crawford can do. Now, this sheds some new light on some things that potentially can spell some really bad news for the likes of Terrence Crawford coming into that fight. And again, I don't even know who Crawford is training with to prep for this fight. And again, Stephen could be lying. I'm not saying he is. He hasn't shown anything to say that this would be a lie. But just know that right now, if this in fact is true, we got ourselves some concerns. Crawford may have some real concerns for what the preparation of Canelo might be able to make him turn into on the night of Canelo versus Crawford. Just be on the lookout for that. Just food for thought as we keep on going through up into September, where we're all waiting for the day of Crawford versus Canelo. But I think that's about it that we got to cover. If anybody has anything else to say on this show, again, Bill, I'm going to hold you to it. If we get T.O. versus Devin, I'm down for it. I want to see what it's about. Let's see what we can do, and let's see if we can actually make that fight happen. If not that, then potentially it would be T.O. versus Boots Ennis as another fight that's been talked about that we covered on this show previously. I think T.O. beats Devin, but I think T.O. gets knocked out by Boots Ennis, but we can have that conversation later on. But with all that being said, if nobody else has anything else to say, I think we can get out of here. You think so? I think we're good to go, and I think we've had a very phenomenal and productive show. So with all of that being said, this has been another episode of The Welch Report with me, yo, Jean-Luc Welch. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show. We finally got the chat fixed. Everybody was a phenomenal guest because everybody was chiming in, chatting, discussing, having their thoughts and opinions. It's been great. It's been phenomenal. I appreciate all of you all being here. It's been a great show. We're going to be back next week if not this weekend. I can't remember if we have any other fights happening this weekend. If so, I'll tell y'all about them, and I'll tell y'all if I'm streaming them or not. But we've been great. It's been phenomenal. Leave a like on the stream before you go. Comment your thoughts and opinions on what you liked or didn't like about the show. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. Listen to us on every podcasting platform imaginable. Rate us 5 stars there. Share the show and listen to us countlessly everywhere you can. I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Peace and love. And we are out of here. Yes, sir. We're going to see y'all next week. Or potentially this weekend. Depending on if there's a fight this weekend and if I have the time. But either way, definitively, I'll see y'all next week, surely. And I'll see y'all next time, whenever that time is. Absolutely. So be safe. Be blessed. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your day. And we'll see y'all next time.